evening or day, morning. Kind of lost myself a little bit, but that's okay. That's what we're here for, trying to figure things out. Brewers are trying to figure things out. Mark Atanasio has spoken. Didn't sound happy at all. And Craig Counsell, it has been made official. He is now a Chicago Cub manager after the Cubs put out the press release yesterday that said the former Brewers skipper has indeed taken the job. They let go of their current manager, and David Ross is now out. So now the next chapter begins for both teams. Hi, how you doing today? It was a gut punch yesterday, a gut punch. And I got to admit, there's a lot of people not happy with Craig. He could have gone anywhere else but Chicago. And a lot of people are upset about it. A lot of people. So anyway, that being said, if you want to chime in, we're going to talk a lot about that today. And then we are at the midseason point of the NFL season. And I want to know what your midseason grades are for the Packers. And I'm going to find this really interesting. I got into a discussion. I'm not going to say an argument or debate or anything. It was just a really good discussion last night about the Packers. And, everybody's doing the midseason grades. Okay, it's nothing new. It's not like I'm, thinking up some kind of, masterful topic for the program today. But what I found was nobody knows. It all varies. There's no consensus. And I think that's rather interesting. So I'm going to get your opinion on this today as well. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to find us on Twitter at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels. You can find Grant Bills producing the program at Wisco Grant. At Wisco Grant. You can also track us down on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram, and I am posting a lot more over there. I post usually both on Facebook and on Instagram, but if you want to follow me there, always appreciate it. I can't figure out Instagram because I post the same stuff on Facebook, and I post the same stuff on all our YouTube channels and everything. Instagram, I'll lose 2 or 3 people, whereas I'll gain 80 to 100 over on the Facebook fan page and other pages. It's weird. I don't know why, but it's weird. Then again, I see on Instagram followers, there seems to be a lot of people in porn. So I don't know what's going on over there. I don't know if that's what Instagram's become or not, but you can follow us over there. Facebook fan page, facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show. Facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show. You can find us on YouTube. YouTube, great way to follow the program, listen to the program. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. Facebook.com/Bill Michaels Show. Also, same thing on Twitch TV and on Kick TV. LinkedIn, you can find me under Bill Michaels and watch the program there. And email the program, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. thebillmichaels@gmail.com. And thebillmichaels.com is the website, and the app, WOZN, the Zone Madison. The Zone Madison. And you can also track us down after the fact on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Google Podcasts as well. So there you go. Grant Bills, has it sunk in yet that Craig Counsell is no more?
Yeah, it doesn't mean I'm over it.
Right.
That's the thing. Like, yeah, it's sunk in because I've seen all these pictures like of Cubs accounts and stuff, like posting pictures with him photoshopped in a Cubs jersey. And I'm like, oh my God. So,
well, the funny thing is that like the hardcore Cubs fan, they don't want him. They're mad about it, which I find completely Cubs-esque, but they're mad about it.
I don't know if anyone had any principles. I get that. If I was a Cubs fan, they got an awesome manager and their team is spending money, and I would assume that this means they're going to spend more this offseason. So that's great. But It feels very wrong. It feels very dirty. This feels like dirty pool. So I don't know. If I was a Cubs fan, maybe part of me would be like, man, this feels a little wrong. I mean, they'll get used to it, but it should feel a little wrong, I think.
Kyle says over on the live stream exactly what a couple of people brought up to me last night. They said Craig Counsell going to the Cubs is like Lombardi going to the Bears. That's what it feels like. Because Lombardi was the winningest coach in Packers history and all that kind of stuff. And when you come to championships and success, and now Craig Counsell hasn't had championships, but he has been the winningest manager by far in the Milwaukee Brewers organization. And obviously he then goes to the rival. And, I understand that the comparison is very true. Very true. So I get it. It's not a trash comment, Pack fan. It's the similarities are very there. The similarities are very there. Craig Counsell, the winningest manager in Brewers history, has had success with postseason appearances. And it's not about winning. God, shut up. You're just such a son of a whatever. He is the winningest manager in Brewers history. He has taken them and taken the expectations of fans where it's I remember when I got here, this team was awful. Phil Garner, had he won every game that first year, he would have still been a sub 500 manager. And then Ned Yost got here and just wanted to put him above 500. What Craig Counsell did with the Brewers is make them a consistent threat to get to the postseason. He became a winning manager. Now, as far as championship goes, no, it's not a comparison. But you've got the winningest manager in Brewers history. Now, think about that. He's the winningest manager in Brewers history. Lombardi was the winningest, most decorated in Packers history. Now you go to your rival. Counsell was going to the Cubs. The rival was the Bears. That would be Lombardi going to the Bears. That's what that would be the equivalency of in comparison. Technically, I get it. So that's I completely understand it. I understand how people feel. Now, I do not agree, and I was listening to the morning show, I do not agree with running out and defacing property in the Craig Counsell field and all that stuff. I don't agree with that. We complain about vandalism and everything in the city and things being bad and crime and everything. But if a manager pisses us off, it's okay. No, it's not okay. It's never okay. So I don't agree with that. I kind of thought it might happen, but I don't agree with it. Counsell did a lot. You can't take that away from him. I get it, though, the way it went down. Look, there is more to this story than meets the eye. Would you not agree, Grant?
Oh, I agree. There's a lot that's gone on the last 2 years in the Brewers organization.
There is more to this story than meets the eye. For him not to tell anyone. Now, one, I get it, because out of the respect for David Ross, you don't want to let anybody know that you're interviewing for a job that a guy hasn't even been fired from yet. So I get that. You're not going to say anything. It's a business. It's up to the Cubs to alert David Ross about his job status, not the media. I get that. Okay. But to not, when this starts to happen, to not talk to Mark, I guess, I from what I understand, Mark didn't know, had no idea this was coming. That is, I don't want to say that's a middle finger walking out the door, but it kind of feels like it. I don't know for sure, but that feels like it. Like there was something there where Craig said, F it, I'm out. So I don't know this is kind of like shooting the messenger, you know? I don't know if I'm pissed at Craig Counsell for going to the Cubs. The Cubs, I get it. Okay, that portion of it. But for seeking a new job, or if it really casts a shadow of doubt upon what's going on behind the walls at American Family Field. I think people right now are fueled with emotion, and I understand that. But to me, I really, if I'm a Brewers fan, it's a very cautionary tale, because I'm thinking to myself, this was his hometown team. He grew up as a bat boy, loved it. His dad worked for the Brewers. He was so thrilled to come home. You played that press conference yesterday, that opening press conference that he had when he was just glad to be here and wanted to bring a winner to the city and wanted to win a championship with the Brewers. I mean, remember that commercial a couple of years ago that the Brewers put together with Craig Counsell talking about being the hometown guy and how badly he wanted to win. I mean, that was what was fueling him. For that to evaporate, I mean, in what seemed to be a heartbeat, a moment in time, something happened. So as mad as people are at Craig Counsell, I am so intrigued by what's going on behind closed doors over at American Family Field, what the message is. And the only thing that I've been told, and yesterday my phone blew up, and mainly for the fact that I was calling a lot of people and it was blowing up, but my phone blew up, and the sense that I got was it's not like it's personal that, you called me a name or my family a name or whatever. It's not like that, but this is like, I can't win here. The management is not in. They're not all in. We've gone as far as we can. And I keep going back to the Josh Hader trade. I keep saying, when did things begin to I'm not saying that things deteriorated, but when did things grow cold? Like Craig just began just worrying about the team on the field. And I keep getting kind of pointed back to that when this team was in the hunt and they gave away the back end of their bullpen and weakened their team for a bag of balls. And that's kind of where it is. I really believe that that's where this all began. And that to me is more of a cautionary tale. Because if Craig Counsell, the hometown guy, the whole deal, I mean, if he can't convince Mark, hey, we're right here, we got to go for it, then who will? And this is all the things that are said, this whole thing about, and I get it. I'm a realist. I live in the reality of what the Milwaukee media market can afford. I get it. But at some point, you got to say, we're in, man. Not to say that you got to go just spend money willy-nilly, but when you have legitimate opportunities to bolster your team and you say money's not an object, and then you back up so hypocritically that statement with the release or the trade of a guy that was so worthy of staying here, I got to wonder what the hell's going on.
Well, Bill, I think you made a good point. You understand the Brewers can't spend as much money as other big markets. We all get that. Right. We're not idiots. We understand that there are limitations, but I had a caller on my show last night who pointed out, they had this rotation of guys that came together all at once, like this lucky situation where you have Woodruff, Burns, Peralta, all in their prime and all pretty cheap. Who is the best bat they added?
Right.
You know what I mean? The last couple of years. Who's the best? I'm honestly asking because I don't know.
No.
And I was completely a caller brought that up.
Yep.
I was like, wow. Yeah.
Completely get it. 100%. It has been, let's milk everything we can with young guys and these controllable contracts. And that's what every team wants to do. Don't get me wrong. I'm not, saying the Brewers are the only one to do this. But when the opportunity to add comes about, or you realize that you don't have anything waiting in the wings that can fill that void and the whole, well, let's just put a square peg in a round hole. We'll make it fit. We're not going to spend any money. That's where you lose me. That's where you lose me. Because I appreciate everything Mark Atanasio has done for this team. But that day when they traded Hader and he sat there and did that craptastic interview of we're in it. We ran on the Juan Soto deal. Oh, I don't know. Ask David. That's David's department. I quit micromanaging. That was Mark passing the buck and not owning up to what his own statement behind closed doors probably was. And that was, we're not going to keep him, so we're not going to pay him. So let's dump him. And dump him now. And what you did was F up the remainder of the season. I completely believe that. And that's when Craig's probably sitting in his office going, what are you talking about? What are you doing to me? You're telling me to swim the pool as fast as everybody else. And what you're doing is then tying one of my hands behind my back and saying, still go and do it. Go and win. And I think that's when he said, you know what? I'm done. As soon as I get an opportunity to get out, I'm done. I'll become the winningest manager in Brewers history, and then I'm out. And that's what he did. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to give us a shout, feel free to go ahead and do so. 877-867-1670. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Go to PellaWI.com. That is PellaWI.com. And we know the winter is coming. We know the cold weather is coming. We know the wind and the snow and the blustery blech and everything. It's going to be here. Order now. Get the free in-home consultation, and they can install in cold weather. Okay, you get your windows in about a month, a little bit longer, a little bit shorter, depending on supply and demand. And you get your windows, and they seal off each room. They can install them, and that very night, you turn your heat back on, and oh man, you're toasty. You're perfect. Everything's nice in your home. They're economical. They add curb appeal. They add value to your home and property. No reason not to check on that free in-home consultation. Go to PellaWI.com. That is PellaWI.com. Call them 855-PELLA-WI. 855-PELLA-WI.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Everywhere you look, from groceries to utilities to gas, prices keep going up. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin can dramatically help lower your energy costs year-round by replacing drafty windows and doors in as little as 6 weeks. And now you can save even more by taking advantage of no interest and no down payment for up to 36 months when you order by November 30th. Bring the love of Wisconsin's outdoors in through the beauty and quality craftsmanship of Pella Windows and Doors. Whether you're updating or upgrading the look and comfort of your home, Pella has extensive lines of customizable options to meet your needs and your budget. Replacing drafty windows and doors can dramatically lower your energy costs. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin offers some of the most energy efficient windows in the industry. 0% interest and no down payment for up to 36 months when you order by November 30th. Set your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details. Offer ends 11/30/2023.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Good to have you back. The Bill Michaels Show. Talking some Craig Counsell. He is now on his way to Chicago. He'll be introduced as the Cubs manager tomorrow, or excuse me, not tomorrow, next week. And yeah, it's it's to say it's disappointing would be an understatement. I get it. You know, it is. It's disappointing, but I don't fault him. I think any of us, put it this way, and you got to look in your soul for this. If you had a rival company that you were, that you were always going up against, and, that company called you and said, hey, we want to hire you. We think you're really, really good for what you've done for the company you work for. And the company that you work for doesn't seem to be interested in bettering itself consistently to that level, then, and oh, by the way, they're going to pay you almost three times more than what you were making. I don't think there's any one of us that would say, hey, I'm sticking around. I try to put it, and this is where sometimes I can get passionate about things, but I try to become a realist. And I try to put, because I, like everybody else, feels like this is a gut punch. It almost makes you physically feel sick. I get that. And next year, opening day, really, I mean, if we go down to spring training and we go down to Mesa to see Craig and the Cubby Blue, that'll be a gut punch. But opening day of the baseball season, and the Brewers are going to be opening up, and there's going to be optimism and such, but we all know, look, opening day in Chicago is going to mean something different this year. And you're probably going to say, screw them, I'm not going to pay attention, but you're going to watch highlights of something, and it'll be even bigger a gut punch then. It'll be like ripping the scab open again. But I guess what I'm hoping for, what comes out of this, is the realization that nobody is going to stick around if this team isn't all in. If they're not continually trying to get legitimately better, then not only are managers not going to stick around, but fans are going to eventually throw their hands in the air again. And you'll go back to having, Miller Park like County Stadium. Now, granted, the weather had something to do with it, but when you got into the month of August, specifically into September, and the weather cooled down a little bit, kids are back in school, and you're looking at a night of, they're announcing 13,000, but there's maybe 5 in the stands. I mean, if futility becomes obvious, then yeah, there's something to kind of be a kind of a shot over the bow, if you will, for what could be. So I hope that Mark kind of realizes that, yeah, there's fans that are upset. There's fans that are mad. There's fans that are, right there in the Brewers corner. Don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out. F them on, okay. But I think there's also a good majority of very smart fans that are saying, Something is not right behind closed doors of American Family Field. And I don't know what. 877-867-1670. Kurt says Major League Baseball is going to make opening day Milwaukee at Chicago. Bank on it. Oh, my God. Can you imagine that? You know what I would love to see? This is what I would love to see. If they're going to do that, make it Chicago at Milwaukee. Make it Chicago at Milwaukee. I am tired of seeing the Brewers open up and on the road in Chicago. We've seen that. We've seen that already. We've already been down that path. I remember go back to that year that Freddie Peralta got hurt. Or not Freddie Peralta. Oh, God. He ended up...
Jimmy Nelson?
No, not Jimmy Nelson. He injured his knee. He was fielding a bunt and ended up... it was a rainy day. They twisted his knee. I can't remember who. God. It wasn't Freddie Peralta. It was... It'll come to me. Anyway. But I've spent a couple of opening days down in Chicago and opening weekends in Chicago, and no. I would rather see them make it Craig Counsell returning to Miller Park. You know? So, but anyway, yeah, I don't correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't the schedule already out, Grant? The Brewers open up somewhere with somebody else. Is it like, I can't remember who. I think the schedule's already out. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You could be wrong, but I don't think you are. Let me pull it up. Yeah, the 2023 schedule. 2024. Yeah, that's right. I know what year it is. Yeah.
They just announced that like in August or something.
Yeah, they open up at the Mets. Oh, geez.
At New York.
Craig Counsell is going to be involved one way or another.
Right.
Yeah, they open at the Mets.
They open up at the Mets. Okay. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to give us a shout, please feel free to go ahead and do so. Got one from Jesse. Jesse says, I agree with you. This is a gut punch. I feel that Craig has betrayed all the fans that he kept telling he wanted to win a World Series here in Milwaukee. I feel like he took the money and ran. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. I am fully supportive of my Milwaukee Brewers and always will be. That's kind of the sentiment. No, I mean, look at it. I don't think anybody's asking you to change allegiances. So don't get me wrong. Look, Brewers fans are Brewers fans, period, end of story. Nobody's walking around and all of a sudden going out to buy Cubs hats. That's for sure. That I agree with. This is from Mark. Mark says, I feel that Craig had just spent all of his time here in Milwaukee, and it was time to spread his wings and as a manager and prove that he could do it in another organization. I wish him nothing but the best, except for when they play the Brewers. Texas Badger says, if Milwaukee cheers his return, then this state truist shows the nation that Wisconsin is a sports state of mediocrity and weakness. I don't know about weakness. I don't know about weakness. I mean, the only people that I know that would boo no matter what would be like Philly fans. I think there's a lot of people that have gone on, there's a lot of people that have gone on to other things and come back and at least got an ovation for what they did. I think Brewers fans will cheer them for a minute, and that'll be the extent of it. I could be wrong. Giovanni Gallardo got hurt that day. Thank you very much, J-Bone. Thank you very much, Giovanni Gallardo. I kept wanting to say Freddie Peralta, and I knew that wasn't right. Giovanni Gallardo. Oh, thank you very much. This is from Chris. Chris says, no way I'm cheering for Counsell. He is going to get booed like every other Cubs player that comes into this stadium. It is our house, not theirs, and this whole Wrigley North blank has to end. And I can't use the word. When are Brewers fans going to unite and really lock arms and take back American Family Field? Oh, I think this has done nothing but pour gasoline on the rivalry. Am I wrong about that, Grant? I mean, can you imagine if both teams are playing well Can you imagine now the rivalry?
No. I mean, the stadium's going to be more Cubs fans this year than ever before. So for all, like, I know us Brewers fans, we have these dreams of Counsell's return where he gets booed. There's going to be way too many Cubs fans there for him to get booed. This is why this situation is so helpless. This is why this is so bad.
Right.
But I would agree with you. Yes, on the rivalry, I'm just not convinced that both teams are going to be good next year.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. Although the Cubs made a small run this year, they seem to have some good young talent. They've got some pieces they need to change, but and we can get a little more into that. But the Brewers have a lot of decisions to make, and the problem with the Brewers' decisions, and this is the issue, is the problem with the Brewers' decisions is revolving around money. It's not. You're not going to say, oh, by the way, we signed Corbin Burns. They're not going to do that. They already traded away Canna. Their decisions now, Craig Counsell left for more money. Corbin Burns is going to get traded away because of money. Mark Canna got cut loose because of money. And that's all that's being beaten into Brewers fans right now is, if it's too expensive, we don't want it. What? We need a first baseman? See if somebody in the minor league can fill the bill because we don't want to spend any money. So, on one hand, you've got Craig Counsell leaving, and that's a gut punch. But on the other hand, everything that's been done and everything that's been talked about all revolves around money. All revolves around money and the cheap side of things. And that it's already a PR hit because he left you. But it's worse when you're going to follow it up with, well, we're not going to spend money. Well, we'll get a couple of guys that, look what we did. We're going to spend money in free agency. And by the way, and Sean, I don't want to hear it anymore. He's pounding on the Brewers because they've spent the most in franchise history. Sean, I don't care. It doesn't matter. You know why? Here's the reason why. Because last year, they were 25th or something like that, 20th in baseball when it came to overall contracts. I don't care how much money. If you spent $1 today and everybody else is spending 20, and you spend $2 tomorrow and say, I just spent more money than I ever have, you're still not keeping up with the Joneses. You're just not doing it. So this year, coming into this season, the Milwaukee Brewers, where are they? The Milwaukee Brewers, for their 2024 payroll, are 26th out of 30 teams in Major League Baseball. They have got, and I quote, $46.5 million committed right now to the 26-man payroll, okay? Doesn't include everything that's going to go on with all the, arbitration and people getting raises, okay? What's committed right now on the books, they are 26th in Major League Baseball. 26th. 26. So I don't want to hear this. They spent more money. Oh, my God. That was like when they came out and they said, we were in on CC Sabathia. No, you weren't. You offered him $100 million, but he got an offer of $125 million from the Yankees. You could say, we offered him $120 million. Okay, you're still $5 million short. It doesn't matter. So this whole thing about they spent the most, don't want to hear it anymore. That's like, everybody else is driving a Corvette. You're driving a Chevy Chevette. And finally you upgrade to a Chevy Malibu and go, look, we bought a new car this year. You're still not catching the Corvettes. It ain't happening. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Stick around. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up. This portion of the program brought to you by friends at Quick Trip. Oh, my goodness, those take-home meals come in handy. Out running around last night, stopped, grabbed one of those take-home meals. Had some of that buffalo chicken. Oh, my goodness. That stuff was really, really good. Had a little bit of that to eat last night on the run. Did a lot of stuff around the house. Those things are so convenient, whether it's going in for the bread, the milk, the eggs, the butter, the bananas, whatever it happens to be, heading to the beer cave for a tailgate, or you just need a quick take-home meal. There's always something good for you at Quick Trip. Those are great people. Use your Quick Rewards card, and you can even earn some less pain at the pump. They'll give you that, too. A lot of reasons to go to Quick Trip. Check it out. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Hey, reminder, coming up this weekend, we are going to be live. The Green and Gold postgame show is going to come to you live at the Distillery in Grafton from 3 to 5, but it's a watch party for the Green Bay Packers and the Pittsburgh Steelers coming up this weekend. Green Bay and Pittsburgh going at it. We are going to be at the Distillery in Grafton. Come on out and say hi. And remember, all the proceeds, or I should say a good portion of the proceeds, going to Fisher House, Wisconsin. It's Veterans Day coming up. And they are going to do something for Fisher House, Wisconsin. So that weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, anything you purchase at the distillery, they're going to put a portion of the proceeds to Fisher House, Wisconsin. And they have a distillery in Richfield, but they, not to say that their charity is not very worthy, but it's not Fisher House. So what we want to do is we wanted to go to the distillery in Grafton, Wisconsin. We want to raise more money than the distillery in Richfield does. So please come on out, join us, and go there all weekend long. We're looking forward to it. It should be a lot of fun, but we're going to have hopefully a spirited post-game show, the Green and Gold post-game show, live from the distillery right after the Packers game. But the Packers taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers this weekend. We got a watch party going on. The distillery in Grafton, and then we go on the air immediately following Green Bay and Pittsburgh. So we're really looking forward to that. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Let's go to the phone calls. Let's talk to Peter listening to us in Madison. Peter, how you doing today, man? What's up?
Yeah, doing really good, Bill. Hey, you know what? I'm not even a baseball fan, but I am a fan of, all things Wisconsin and even Bill Michaels. So that's why I'm listening. But, the last few minutes you were talking more about money, but the reason I'm calling is about 20 or 25 minutes ago when you were talking about the hater thing and winning in Milwaukee. I think you couldn't have been more perfectly spot on in your assessment that that's what happened is starting with the hater issue. Mm-hmm. And he just wound up feeling he could not win in Milwaukee. There are no resources. And I'm sure he's happy, to make a few $1 million more. Of course he's happy. But the one person in the world that might refuse or not care about that extra few million would be that bat boy. And, there's a real love for the city there. Mm-hmm. And his literal love, his father, his family. And yet he can't win there.
Right.
Which is his other love, is baseball and to be a manager. So I think I just wanted to say you hit it spot on. It's kind of end the discussion because... people are sad or angry, but what else is there to say? Nailed it.
Yeah, it's and I think that's part of it is had he gone anywhere else, I think it would have been, short of maybe the Cardinals, I think it would have been more accepted, but because it was the Cubs, it's just got people chapped.
Yeah. But I suppose from his perspective, like I said, I'm not a big fan of baseball, but it was an available job where they did have the resources.
Right.
I don't know other jobs that are available, but in Chicago, there's a little bit more money.
Yeah, no, I completely. Well, they act like they're a small market team, but they're not. And they've got their own network. They've got a lot of money from Wrigley. They've got a lot of the rights to their own stuff, and they've got a huge market to draw from. And let's be honest, I mean, they own the city of Chicago. I mean, the White Sox are there, but they don't own it the way the Cubs own it.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's a cute little Cubbies backed by a huge mega empire.
Exactly. No, I couldn't agree more. Appreciate the phone call, Peter. Thanks so much. No, he's right. I mean, they act like they're a small market team, but they're not. They're not. They've always been that mentality of being a small market team comes from the years and years and years of having it beat into you that you're the lovable losers, and you're really not even lovable, to be honest with you. But the lovable losers, and woe is us, and we're the bad. We're the team that everybody loves to point at and laugh at, But no, you're a major market team that had almost over 100 years of failure, 108 years of failure. So, you had a lot of wasted money. Put it that way, a lot of wasted money. 877-867-1670. Let's go to Mailman Mark. Mailman Mark, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
I'm doing great, Bill. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet.
What I had brought up to Grant was you just brought up a good point about 10 minutes ago, saying how the ownership here always, says, "Oh, we're in it to win it," but we just, we offered them this much, but the CC Sabathia or Mark Can or it's just never enough. And right now you bring this up at a good point because right now the team's asking the state to pony up money for repairs in the future and for them to stay here in Wisconsin. And I'm not one of those people that's against, paying for that. I get the economics and the benefits of them staying, but it's kind of, it rubs me a little bit of the wrong way because now it seems to me that possibly the ownership group at the Brewers might have lowballed Craig a little bit. I mean, his offer on the table was like the lowest, I believe. I don't know. And having Mark Canha walk out the door, that really surprised me. I didn't know that happened until yesterday when you talked about it. I was really surprised. I thought for sure that would have been a deal for us to get a guy with a veteran experience. So I'm not really. I think the ownership group needs to start spending a little bit more to kind of retain some of the fan base. I mean, keep people engaged at least.
I agree with you. I just wonder, with all the negative news surrounding, I appreciate the phone call, with all the negative news surrounding the Brewers, Craig Counsell is leaving, I don't want to say under the cover of darkness, but basically that deal was made without anybody knowing it, without even anybody knowing they were talking. Like it wasn't even a thought. And all of a sudden it happened. So he's gone. I mean, Bolts basically doesn't say a word to anybody. Everybody in the organization is just shocked. So he takes off and Canha's gone, and everything you're hearing now is about money. I went through Adam McCalvy's list of off-season to-dos, and it's all, granted, it has to be because you have a budget and you have to figure your team out, but everything's about money. Well, Corbin Burns probably not going to be here because it's going to cost him too much money. Well, Brandon Woodruff's not going to be here next year because of the injury, so they're going to end up with some kind of a settlement for this season and blah, blah, blah. And then it's all about arbitration and what they can and can't afford and who they may or may not keep. And there's some people that I agree with, hey, you're paying them and it's like, their contract's over. They're not that good, move on. But you're sitting here right now going, you've got 46-something million committed to a 26-man portion of roster, and you got what you would assume is some money to spend. You're not spending $8 million on a manager. You've got money. And everything we're talking about is how much can they cut? How much can they get out of the new guys under their rookie contracts before they even become arbitration eligible? And that's the way good teams are built. And I'm not knocking it. But what I haven't heard is, hey, when you got a couple of maybe first base free agents that are going to be open, will the Brewers be in on any of this? I haven't heard anything. What about third base candidates? Haven't heard anything. Will there be a trade that happens? There's no rumors floating around. Granted, you've got the meetings that are going on, but I haven't heard much of anything. And what I'm looking for right now, and it could happen. I'm not saying it couldn't, and I'm not saying it's not going to, but I'm waiting for something. Give me something to latch onto to go, okay, now here we go. Here we go. That's what I'm hoping for. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Everywhere you look, from groceries to utilities to gas, prices keep going up. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin can dramatically help lower your energy costs year-round by replacing drafty windows and doors in as little as 6 weeks. And now you can save even more by taking advantage of no interest and no down payment for up to 36 months when you order by November 30th. Bring the love of Wisconsin's outdoors in through the beauty and quality craftsmanship of Pella Windows and Doors. Whether you're updating or upgrading the look and comfort of your home, Pella has extensive lines of customizable options to meet your needs and your budget. Replacing drafty windows and doors can dramatically lower your energy costs. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin offers some of the most energy efficient windows in the industry. 0% interest and no down payment for up to 36 months when you order by November 30th. Set your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details. Offer ends 11/30/2023.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Good to have you back. Hey, if you're heading downtown, a lot of people downtown last night. Marquette opened up downtown last night. I saw. Got a nice win. Raised the Big East Championship banner last night. But if you're heading down for a Marquette game, a concert, a Bucks game, theater, as the theater season is now up and running, anything with Admirals for that matter, don't forget about our friends over at Calderon Club. Calderon Club, 838 Old World 3rd Street, downtown Milwaukee, and San Giorgio Pizzeria right next door. And oh my God, is that good. Both places just spectacular. Just spectacular. Looking for the best Italian food, whether spaghetti and meatballs, chicken marsala, you name it. I mean, they've got incredible thin pizza over at Calderon Club and the traditional pizza at San Giorgio. They've got it all. So check in with Gino and the gang down at 838 Old World 3rd Street, downtown Milwaukee. That is Calderon Club and San Giorgio, two spectacular places right there, Old World 3rd Street, right across from the Hyatt Hotel. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Don't forget our guy, Tim Dillard. Part of the Brewers broadcast with Bally's. Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll talk with him about his reaction to all of this when word got, broke loose that Craig Counsell was off to Chicago. We'll talk with him about that. We got, let's go to Ken listening to us in Sturgeon Bay. Ken, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
We lost Ken. Ken dropped off, but we can go to Steve in Madison.
Let's go to Steve in Madison. Steve, how you doing?
Oh, pretty good, Bill. I wanted to talk about the revenue sharing that, every major league team gets. I know back in 2020, I guess the Brewers got like $118 million in revenue sharing. Yeah, I mean, a lot of that goes to, you would think, to get better players and things like that. But why? It seems to me that the management is more interested in profits than going for the whole thing. I was just wondering what your thoughts would be on something like that.
Well, from what I understand, the revenue sharing is supposed to go towards player personnel. So that's what they are supposed to use that for. It should not go towards debt relief from stadiums or anything else like that. It should be always to either better the scouting department, better international scouting, or go into player personnel acquisition. That, I believe, is what revenue sharing is for. I don't know, what specifically they did with it. But I do know going all the way back, what was it? Like you said, back in April, I think it was teams are sharing $110 million, something to that extent. So I don't know. And remember, I think it's the top half of baseball pays the bottom half of baseball. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I don't know what the Brewers did with it and what they spent that money on, but that's what's supposed to happen. The Brewers had a total of payroll of $105.6 million. It ranks 19th in baseball. And we'll talk more about this coming up at the top of the hour. I'm running out of time here, but I want to go through this because that's where the money is supposed to be spent. Now, some teams, I know the Pittsburgh Pirates got into a little bit of trouble for that because they were paying off stadium debt, and that's not what it's used for. That's not what it's supposed to be used for. Stay tuned. We got a lot more coming up right after this. Stay tuned. We got Tim Dillard next.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, Craig Counsell is the manager of the Chicago Cubs. That shocking news came yesterday, ending Counsell's time as the Brewers manager after 8 full seasons when he led them to the playoffs 5 times, won more games than any other manager in team history. Now, Milwaukee reportedly had a contract extension on the table all season that would have made him the highest paid manager in the league, but Chicago came in and offered the 53-year-old a 5-year deal that will pay him roughly $40 million, millions more than what the Brewers had offered. It leaves Milwaukee without a manager and also having to face Counsell on a regular basis wearing their rivals' uniform. To the Bucks, last night the Deer were in Brooklyn. Giannis Antetokounmpo had 36 points, 12 rebounds. Dame Lillard added 21, and they would beat the Nets 129-125. The Deer now sit 4-2 on the season and come back to Milwaukee, where they will host the Detroit Pistons tomorrow night.
Are you a non-union construction tradesperson proud of what you do? Did you know you're worth so much more than what you're bringing home today? Put the power of LiUNA union labor to work for you. When you join LiUNA, you get the pay you deserve, plus pension and healthcare benefits above and beyond your compensation. That's 0 deductions for pension and healthcare benefits with LiUNA, because you're worth it. Learn more at liunawisconsin.org/join.
Wisconsin basketball set a record for most points at the Kohl Center as they beat Arkansas State in their season opener 105-76 last night. Chucky Hepburn led the way with 20 points, AJ Storr 15, and Max Klesmit chipped in 14. It gets a little tougher for the Badgers as they welcome in number 9 Tennessee to the Kohl Center on Friday. The Packers, fresh off their win over the Rams, are now preparing to go to Pittsburgh to face the Steelers on Sunday. And finally, the Badgers are unsure if they'll have Braylon Allen and back in time from injury for their game against Northwestern at Camp Randall on Saturday. Kickoff is at 11 a.m. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
Welcome back in hour number 2 of the Bill Michaels Show, and we are good to have you. Glad you're here. A disappointing day yesterday, no doubt. We were talking all Packers all the time, and then word broke that Craig Counsell is now the new manager of the Chicago Cubs, and it was, to say that it was a kick to the gut, I think would be maybe an understatement. And to talk more about it, we got our guy Tim Dillard on the line, and to get his reaction. Tim, how you doing today?
Man, I am doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. The one thing that, I seem to be getting from everybody is when they heard, they were shocked, and it was a gut punch. So give me your reaction when word broke yesterday that Craig was going to Chicago.
Yeah, I was actually looking through Twitter, and I was actually messaging Stephen Vogt, who just got, picked up by the Guardians.
was just telling him congratulations just because he's, one of those guys has one of the best names in the game, right? So
right.
I was making sure I was hitting him up, and then all of a sudden I saw where the news broke. So my reaction probably went something like, oh, and then I just started laughing. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It says so much. It's not like it was a spur of the moment thing, right? Like, I feel like Craig kind of knew what would happen. So yeah, he kind of, went all in.
Was there any inkling behind the scenes that you said, you know what, he's talking to the Mets, talking to the Guardians, there's other managerial jobs open. Dusty just left down in Houston. Were the Cubs on the radar?
For me, no. I actually told people, I was like, I'd be the first to say I was wrong. I figured he would stay. So I'm here. You're the first person I've talked to since. So I'm like, yeah, I was way wrong. I just totally thought he would stay in Milwaukee, but I was way off. But
yeah.
No, I don't think anybody had the Cubs on the radar. Nobody was looking at a team that had a manager that they seemed seemingly happy with, right? So
right.
Yeah, I don't think that was on anyone's radar.
So, Mark said last night on his Zoom, meeting that, Craig left and he looked dejected. I obviously feel that there's this gut punch to the organization in some way, shape, or form. But why do you think Craig wanted to leave?
I don't know. I'm sure he'll have like a press conference or something and address that. But just speculatory. I mean, he had a chance to make a bunch of money. And, one of the first things my dad ever told me, my dad played in the big leagues. He was a coach. And, I was a free agent. Minor leaguers just became a free agent, yesterday? And I was a free agent a ton as a minor leaguer. But my dad used to say, in a person's career, you probably get 0, but maybe you get one chance where you actually have the upper hand to try to do something, to try to get a multi-year deal, to try to make some money. Because the baseball life's, doesn't always go your way. So I feel like this was the time in Craig Counsell's career that he had a chance to, do something. And he did. He chose to do it. So I don't know. He has to get a little bit bigger payroll. And I don't know. I mean, he probably just thought this is what I've done in Milwaukee. What can I do outside of this? Can I build something else?
Mm-hmm. Where does the team go? I mean, obviously the hunt for a new manager comes on. You would assume like Pat Murphy, if Pat doesn't get the job here, then he would probably join Craig down in Chicago. We'll have to wait and see because nothing's been made official yet. But, there's one thing to be said for familiarity. But you tell me, as a guy that's been in that clubhouse, does the bench, coach who then becomes manager, does he carry the same weight? Or do you got to go out and find somebody else to kind of change that to that culture that they want?
Well, first of all, I just want to address the rumors on Twitter that no, I have not been contacted. I did try to call Matt Arnold, and it said the number was not a working number. I'm not sure what happened there. But
gotcha.
No, I don't know. I think, Murph he's good. He has experience. He knows what the culture is, and it would just be an easy fix for him to slide right in. Who knows if he knew about what was going to happen and how early he knew about it. And surely today he's going to be offered, a bench coach for the Cubs and probably manager for the Brewers. Who knows? So he's going to have that chance, right? You ever see that movie, The Good Son, with Macaulay Culkin? Yep. That's what I feel like he's going to have today. He's going to be the mother hanging over the cliff. But I don't know. If you go outside the organization to find somebody, you definitely want to bring someone in that is going to be able to navigate this type of roster, right? And or do they go with a guy that's been around forever? Do they go with a new guy? I personally think Matt Erickson could do the job. Matty's been with the Brewers. He's been there a long time. He's managed in the lower levels. He's been with the big league club off and on. I think he'd be a good fit as well. But I don't know. It's always a tough job. It's an exciting job in some regards. It's kind of put the organization on a trajectory of your choosing. And so, I don't know. Matt Arnold has some interesting choices coming.
What about the roster? I mean, if you have to look at some of the areas that you want to upgrade, obviously they need more bats. I mean, that's no secret here. And then they got to fix whatever arms. I mean, Brandon Woodruff going down and losing him out of the rotation is a big blow. And then they've got some things to fix. But how big of the job off-season wise does Matt Arnold have for this team?
I think he probably needs a good starter and probably just needs a proven bat. Probably not a bat that goes in the outfield. I feel like they're stacked in the outfield. Go get a big bat that can, maybe play first, play third for sure, like something like that, where you can just get a guy that's been around forever that just knows that what kind of numbers he's going to put up offensively. But I mean, as far as you go around the infield, they got great defense. They got the catching. They're poised to clearly make another run at this whole thing next season.
How good is that outfield and a lot of the young guys? I mean, we saw Garrett Mitchell provide a spark. We know Sal Frelick certainly did. Joey Weimer defensively is magnificent. He needs to really work on the swing, in my opinion, down in the minors. How good is that group of up-and-comers in the outfield?
Yeah, you didn't even say Jackson Churio either.
True.
I mean, they just you can go around the board, just see what talent these guys have. I think Sal Frelick was underrated a little bit in the outfield. His numbers were fantastic in what he was able to do. And of course, Weimer. I mean, nobody expects any of these guys to come up and start batting 1,000. But yeah, I mean, everybody has room where they can improve. Plus what Yelich was able to do last year, hopefully he can build off of that going into next season. So, yeah, I think they have a whole nice crop, and I think it was a travesty just going to the infield that Bryce Terang didn't have a chance at Gold Glove, because clearly whoever makes those decisions didn't watch him play enough this year.
Yeah, oh, no, I completely agree. I mean, the guy was absolutely fantastic, and his range is what's so amazing. I mean, there were times where even if he would have had an error, it's because he got to a ball that most players wouldn't even get to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't understand who votes on that stuff. Like, how do they come up with that? The only thing I could think is that Bryce Terang uses a Wilson glove, and Rawlings is the one that does the Gold Glove. So that's the only thing I could come up with, because I mean, just like you said, the range, I don't know why they didn't factor it in, or they have something they're measuring is just wrong. Because clearly anybody that watched this guy play a series knows how many runs he kept off the board by making it look super easy. And I promise you, it is not that easy.
So bullpen-wise next year, give me your thoughts on how deep they are or not.
I think they'll be fine. I mean, they pump out relievers like it's nothing. They can take anybody and make them good, except for me. That didn't work out for them. But nowadays, they have all this stuff in place, and they're really good at getting relievers. And, I just talked about, the minor leaguers being free agents. Listen, they have great scouting department. They know who's out there, who's available, that's maybe been in the minor leagues that they know could be a big league reliever given a good offseason. So that's what they're going to do. They have a formula where they just keep pumping out these guys. And honestly, a lot of the free agents that I've talked to over the years, probably the last 3 or 4 years, some of these pitching guys, they want a fresh start, and they want it to be in Milwaukee because they've seen what they've been able to do. They bring a guy in, they run him through the gauntlet of tests or whatever they do, and they pump out the other side of guys with velo going up and their pitches being, just improved upon, maybe adding a pitch. So these are the type of things a place they want to land. These good guys in the minor leagues looking for a spot, they're going to have a chance in Milwaukee for sure.
I guess the next question I have for you, Tim, is, for everything that seems so down right now, and look, you got Craig leaving. He's getting a bunch more money. Everything we're talking about now, I mean, like Mark Canha gets traded. You've got guys coming up for arbitration. You've got the talk of money, and how they want controllable contracts for the least amount of money for guys that can produce. And like you said, they need to go get a big bat. Will they? I don't know. It's all talk about money. It seems like if I'm a Brewers fan, that my success is going to be tied to the purse strings, and it seems like with Woodruff being down, Counsell leaving, it's not going to feel the same next year. So what am I hanging my hat
on? I mean, I don't know if you got a hat rack, that helps. No, I will say, I mean, honestly, this is an opportunity, right? Like, I think the Cubs. This is more about the Cubs maybe than the Brewers. The Cubs are threatened, right? They were like, we should have done better. We have to go through the Brewers to win the Central. We know that going into next year. So what do? We're going to take their manager. We're going to throw a bunch of money at him, and we're going to take it. And then they're going to. That's just sparked, a new kind of rivalry between these two clubs. So on the flip side of that, it's like, all right, if you punch, counter punch. They need to come back, and the Brewers need to put together a winning formula without Craig Counsell. And if, there's a lot of pressure there, because if they don't, then it's like, wow, this guy was the reason the team was good, if they can't do the exact same thing they did last year. So it's almost, you can't be in this business without being excited about different kinds of pressure. And so I think that's what the organization feels. They're like, all right, here we go. Things have changed, but you know what? Our success is not. And we're going to do what we did this past season and beyond. And that's the goal.
Do you, and I'm getting a little bit deeper here, but Craig left for obviously a bigger contract. He's got a much bigger payroll that he can use down there and what they can put on the field. Do you feel like he had just run his course here? Like, they traded away Hader for money. They really didn't go out and get what they needed to help him get through the postseason. Jesse Winker was a roll of the dice. I mean, do you feel like he said, you know what? I've taken this team as far as I can go. I just don't think I can do it here anymore.
No, I don't think so. I think I bet at some point, he probably played it really close to the chest. As far as I know, nobody knew what his thoughts were going into the offseason. But I think part of him was probably going to go, I'm going to test the market. I'm going to, come back to the Brewers, and finish. And then, obviously other things arose where that didn't happen.
Right.
But I think for him, he could have easily stayed and solidified his legacy in this organization. But you know what? I get it as a manager. When you go to a place and you have success, you want more toys, right? You want more trinkets. You want to see what you can do in another market with more money and, maybe more opportunity. So I don't know. Is it going to pay off? We'll wait and see. But I guarantee people will be watching what goes on with the Brewers Cubs all season next year.
Are the Brewers right now, the way the division stands, are they still the team to beat?
The Cubs? Brewers?
No, the Brewers.
Which one?
Yeah.
Brewers? Yeah, I think so. I mean, you saw the Pirates. They start out pretty hot early in the season last year or this past season, and kind of fizzled out. The Reds had their moment, and the Cubs had their moment late, and so you're starting to look around. But the Brewers just keep doing what they do, and they are proving that consistent good baseball is what it gets you in the postseason. It's what sits at the end of the year. It's like you got to play good ball every month to be in the postseason. It's good to get red hot, but if you're not consistent all year long, it's not going to hold any water at the end. So that's the Brewers. They want a consistent formula. They have it, and I think they've leaned into that. And it's just, if I'm on another club and I'm in the Central, one of the things I want to do is how can we be more consistent like the Brewers? Because that's what they've proven over these past however many years.
What happened to the Cardinals? Because it seemed like they had everything ready to go, and it just completely collapsed.
I mean, I would say pitching. I think the defense, at times suffered. They had a couple of good bright spots, but there's a few gaping holes there. The guys that had a hard time, a couple of guys in the outfield, maybe health. They relied a lot on O'Neill in left field, and he was hurt a lot, but he's always been hurt, so it's hard to know. But I don't know. I think it's starting pitching. Everything stems from starting pitching, and they just didn't have it. I played a spring in Mexico. I got fired from the team, but I played there for a little bit. And one of the things in Mexico with these summer teams is they don't care if they give up 16 runs as long as they score 17 runs. So in a way, I feel like the Cardinals were kind of accidentally built on that a little bit, where it was like, well, we can score a bunch of runs, but we're giving up a bunch of runs. So, not everybody's the Brewers. We get spoiled looking at these close one-run ball games, for 6 months. But a lot of teams, they can put up a ton of runs. But if they give up a bunch, it's not going to always pay off for them.
Always good to talk to you, Tim. I appreciate it. As the season rolls on or the off-season rolls on, we'll touch base again, okay?
Yeah, awesome. Thanks.
Appreciate it, pal. Talk to you soon. There you go, Tim Dillard. And you can find him on Twitter at Dim Tillard. And he is a former Brewers pitcher. He's part of the pre and post on Bally's. And man, oh man, it's like he said, he was just kind of smiled and laughed like, I just can't believe it. Can't believe it happened. And Craig Counsell gone. He's off to Chicago. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Steel Tank Brewing on Robrook Lane in Oconomowoc, right behind the Exonia Bank off of 67. Open Tuesday through Sunday. They have lunch and terrific food. If you're out in the Oconomowoc area, man, they have got some really good dishes out there. Don't forget, I saw that they were painting all the bar tops and lacquering them and all that kind of stuff over the last 24 hours. That place is really, really close to being ready. The PA system is now in. They were working on that. Everything's just about ready to go. and all they got to do is open the door. So Steel Tank Brewing, and look for that big music venue out back to be opening really, really soon. More of the Bill Michaels Show. Your reaction next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Everywhere you look, from groceries to utilities to gas, prices keep going up. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin can dramatically help lower your energy costs year-round by replacing drafty windows and doors in as little as 6 weeks. And now you can save even more by taking advantage of no interest and no down payment for up to 36 months when you order by November 30th. Bring the love of Wisconsin's outdoors in through the beauty and quality craftsmanship of Pella Windows and Doors. Whether you're updating or upgrading the look and comfort of your home, Pella has extensive lines of customizable options to meet your needs and your budget. Replacing drafty windows and doors can dramatically lower your energy costs. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin offers some of the most energy efficient windows in the industry. 0% interest and no down payment for up to 36 months when you order by November 30th. Set your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details. Offer ends 11/30/2023.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Good to have you back. The Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. We go from a terrific guest in our buddy Tim Dillard, Todd Rosiak now, the Journal Sentinel, covers the Milwaukee Brewers as well, joining us on the hotline. And Todd, thanks for taking a couple of minutes. I know the last 24 hours have been absolutely crazy. And I got to ask you, did you see this coming?
Probably the best way I can explain it is I was covering UWM basketball last night. It was a long day for me. Somebody asked me on a scale of 1 to 10, how surprised are you? And I said 11.
Yeah.
I mean, I think literally everybody had to have been 11 yesterday. Just nobody saw that coming. And then, Counsell leaving, I think everybody was expecting the Mets, but the Cubs, I mean, that was just an absolute shocker and a definition of the word shocker to me.
So you tell me why you think Craig decided to leave.
Oh, well, first of all, he was, from what I understand, very adamant about doubling, if not more so, his salary. Obviously, enriching yourself is part of the equation, but he also felt a real need to raise the bar for managerial salaries across baseball. And in doing so, going to the Cubs, getting $8 million a year, he's absolutely reset the market. So the money, huge factor. I would assume that along with that money came assurances from the Ricketts family that, they're going to open the purse strings and start spending on players again, which, Craig Counsell obviously did a great job in Milwaukee with a limited payroll. I'm sure he's really excited to be able to now manage a team that will have some of the financial resources that the Brewers don't have. So I think that's part of it. And two, I'm sure in the grand scheme of things, when you've accomplished all that Craig Counsell has accomplished, and you can look at any coach in any sport who's reached the pinnacle of their profession, ego gets involved a little bit. And I'm sure he looks at this as kind of the next challenge, managing, traditional powerhouse franchise in baseball in a huge media market. That has to be attractive as well. So I think it's probably a combination of all those things.
Does this in any way, in your opinion, ignite what maybe fans have been screaming for is, look, you don't need to go out and spend $300 million, but can you pump up this roster a little bit and actually find a legit bat, find a veteran that's been there, done that, quit talking about we're in the running or we're in the discussion, and actually sign somebody of ilk that can help this team? Do you think finally maybe this is like, hey, he left because he's going to get a little bit more help when it comes to the actual roster size and such? Maybe the Brewers will start to open it up a little bit?
Not necessarily. I mean, I know that's what fans want to hear is, oh yeah, now the Brewers are going to spend. I don't see this changing the equation at all for them. They don't have the resources to compete for those top tier free agents. It's just the fact of the matter. Fans don't want to hear it, but that's the reality of the situation. So they have to work within the constraints that they have, and they're going to have to continue to do what they've been doing, which is trying to be creative, taking, rolling the dice on guys, guys like Josh Donaldson at the end of last season and hoping you can catch lightning in a bottle. You can point to all the prospects they've got right now, either at the major league level or in the pipeline coming up soon, the Jackson Chirios of the world, Tyler Blacks. There's a lot of young talent in the pipeline that's going to be here soon. Is that equivalent to Pete Alonso? Of course not. But to continue to get the bites of the apple, like everybody hates hearing, that's the organizational philosophy, and that is going to be a combination of riding the young talent that you already have in the system and trying to be smart and judicious with the external additions that you make.
So who do you think is going to be on the short list of managers for the Brewers?
It's really, I mean, I've seen a million different names. At this point, probably too early to say. My framework, my guess would be is it's going to be a first-year guy. The Brewers have already announced that they have the majority of their coaching staff under contract already for next year. An established manager is not going to want to come into a situation like that where he's saddled with a staff already in place. You're going to want to bring in your own guys. So to me, that screams somebody that doesn't have any experience. Does that mean that the guy's not going to be a good manager? No, but there's going to be some growing pains for sure if that is the case. So that's what I will say is my guess is it's going to be somebody who is going to be a manager for the first time.
Is Pat Murphy locked up, or does he get an opportunity to go with Craig and be a bench manager?
I've been told he's the only member of that coaching staff that is not under contract. So my guess would be that he will wind up in Chicago with Craig Counsell in some form or fashion at some point.
Does he get a shot at being the manager, do you think?
In Milwaukee? No, I don't. My guess is that he's already probably did a kind of an informal interview internally, but I don't. In my personal opinion and what I've been able to glean, I don't think he's going to be a serious candidate to be the next manager.
If I'm the Brewers, sitting here as a fan, and I'm looking at a lot of this in different directions, but I'm thinking the manager just left to make more money. There's nothing but talk about when Corbin Burns is ultimately going to get traded because they don't want to pay him. You got Woodruff that went down. They let Mark Canna go. All this stuff is about cutting payroll, doing it on what we consider to be the cheap. If you're a fan mentality, what then do you have to hang? You have to hang your hat on.
Well, I mean, we can't look at these moves in a vacuum, Bill. I mean, you have to wait to let the postseason or the off season play out. I mean, they traded Mark Canna. They got a prospect in return for him. That's $11.5 million that I'm guessing is going to be utilized elsewhere to address other needs. The Corbin Burns thing, who knows? I mean, there's I think the very real possibility that they do still hang on to him. Extend him arbitration for one more year, tender him a contract, and keep him if they feel like they're in position to contend again. That is obviously up in the air right now as far as, do they think they're going to be able to contend with a first-year manager if that's indeed what they go with? There's a lot of balls in the air right now, but you have to let the offseason play out. Once they get a manager in place, let's see where the other shoe drops, what they wind up doing. They obviously have huge holes at first base and third base. You can always use more pitching. They have pieces that they can trade if need be in the minor league system. There's a lot that has to happen between now and then. So I understand the angst. I understand the frustration if you're a fan, but this is not a team that's automatically going into rebuild mode and is going to finish, with a top 10 pick after this coming season.
No, I agree with you. And I'm bringing it up as more of the fan reaction per the show than it is my reaction. I understand where they're at and I understand the constraints of finances of which they work. I guess what I'm looking at is, it's always been, hey, Craig, go make the best out of what you can. And then when they really needed one or two guys, they've tried, but they've always tried to get that diamond in the rough or somebody that maybe past their prime to catch lightning in a bottle, like you said. And it just hasn't happened. You're kind of waiting as a fan to say, give us that one big thing to kind of hang our hat on. I mean, they were talking about how they were in the Juan Soto deal and they, money was not an object, but yet, you get rid of Josh Hader because of money. It's been somewhat contradictory. And I think people are left right now going, what's going on with my Milwaukee Brewers? You know what I mean?
No, I get it. I have to deal with this stuff on Twitter 24/7 and it really, you do it for your job on the radio. I have to do it on social media and through email and everything. I get it. I understand. But if you're a fan of the Milwaukee Brewers, the reality of the situation is it is what it is. You have an owner that has, basically delineated how he's going to run the organization. And you have to deal with the constraints that he has laid out. Would it be great to have an owner like Steve Cohen? Of course. Look at the flip side of the coin. Look at what's going on with the San Diego Padres right now. Did you see those reports? All that money that they spent last year. Oh, bring in this guy, bring in that guy. They're going to win the World Series. They didn't make the playoffs. They had to take out a $50 million loan to pay their payroll.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Right.
Any legit businessman is not going to do that, and certainly Mark Atanasio is not going to do that. So you have to find a happy medium. I'll say it. I've said it 100 times already. I get it. I understand why fans are upset. Let's let the next few months play out in the off season. See what this team looks like going into Christmas or coming out of Christmas, and then start making judgments there. We'll have a pretty good idea at that point as to whether they do feel like they're going to contend that for next year, or maybe this comes some sort of soft rebuild situation. Bring in a new manager. Maybe they ultimately decide it's best to trade Corbin Burns, to trade Willie Adames, and then, see what you get back. And then you try to build a young, talented nucleus that could start contending in 2, 3, 4 years down the line. We don't know, but that's part of the deal of being a fan, I guess. You just got to ride the waves.
Real quick before I let you go, last question is, you talk about the San Diego situation. We saw what happened in New York with the Mets. We saw the money that was spent down there in St. Louis as well on some of these guys that they had traded for. Some of these teams that have spent a ton of money, it has been a miserable failure. Do you think this begins to deter owners from these stupid, crazy contracts? I mean, other than Ohtani, from these stupid, crazy contracts that just aren't working out, and they'll never recoup that money for those particular players.
No, I mean, I think what it'll do is that there always tends to be overcorrections one way or the other. I think the Mets definitely will take a step back this year, partially because David Stearns is in charge now, and that's kind of a steady as she goes approach. But they also have a lot of young talent in place now from the trades that they made. But then on the flip side of the coin, you're going to get an owner like the guy in Philadelphia who, has said, like, my only concern is putting championship banners up on the wall, bringing trophies back here, and I'll spend whatever it takes. He's shown that. So, I think there's going to be overcorrections one way or the other year to year, but the Mets and the Padres to me are just these huge cautionary tales. You point your fingers and go, I can't even believe what happened. So Steve Cohen certainly has the finances to soak those losses up, and he happily does so. The guy in San Diego, I'm guessing he's really second guessing opening the checkbook, because that blew up in his face big time.
Right, no doubt. Todd, appreciate a moment's notice coming on the program. We certainly always appreciate your insight, and we'll touch base again real soon, okay?
All right, sounds good. Take care, guys.
Thanks, pal. Talk to you soon. Todd Rosiak joining us for a few minutes as well. Some great insight back-to-back. Tim Dillard, Todd Rosiak, both. Todd covers the Brewers for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Tim Dillard works with Bally Sports, pre and the post. Everybody stunned, shocked, amazed, just at the loss of Craig Counsell. This portion of the program brought to you by Lux Golf Bays down in Franklin, Wisconsin. Look, the weather's not bad right now. And you may want to get in one of those heated bays, get yourself a little grub on, get yourself a beverage, maybe watch a little tube, but keep swinging. And that's what they offer down there at Lux Golf Bays in Franklin, Wisconsin. And don't forget, right there next to it, they've got the Dog House, the hot dog place. They've also got the new pizzeria that they have across the street is Blend, the cocktail bar. So many things right there in that Rock Sports Complex down in Franklin, Wisconsin. That's Lux Golf Bays, Luxe, luxgolfbays.com. That is luxgolfbays.com. Good stuff down there, and just tell them we sent you. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket, this is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The all-new Potawatomi Casino Hotel has something you gotta see. Play more slots and games, and you could say, "Show me the money," to reveal up to 10 grand each Thursday. 800,000 in prizes is up for grabs. 40 winners each week. This October and November at Potawatomi, Milwaukee. When you're ready to win, just say, "Show me the money." More info at paysbig.com. Must be 21 years old and a club member to play.
The Michael will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Hearts of fire, streets of stone, modern warriors, satellite horses of chrome, taste the wild,
Potawatomi Hotel Casino. Our good friends down there reminding you they got a big New Year's Eve party coming up. They have got to the Rock and Brews, the Dream Dance Steakhouse, Rio, all of that. Whatever kind of food you're looking for, they got it. The 360 bar is always a great place to just meet, chat, have a few drinks. They've got the gaming tables, the slots. Bingo is back. Sportsbook, the temporary one's open. The big new one that they're building is going to be opening right around the time of March Madness, and we look to be in over there doing some stuff. So really excited about everything they have to offer. Go to paysbig.com to see. paysbig.com. That is paysbig.com. That is Potawatomi Hotel Casino. And go see for yourself. Thanks to Todd Rosiak and Tim Dillard and everybody for joining us. Now, nobody wants to get into the fact that the Brewers, that they need to spend a little bit more money. Nobody, they're going to play. You didn't hear anything there from either that said, hey, they're going to go out and get that guy or this guy. Just basically let it play out. So I guess if I'm a Brewers fan, and I am, I'm sitting here today going, and I'm not down. I'm questioning things. I'm looking at things in a realistic light. I'm not down. I'm down that Craig Counsell left and he's going to the Cubs. That's a gut punch. But I'm not down on the franchise. But I'm sitting back with my arms folded saying, show me something. Where are you right now, Grant, when you start to think about the Brewers and maybe going into next year? Where are you at when it comes to the Brewers and the optimism or non-optimism for next year, depending on where you sit?
Depressed. I can't think about next year right now. I don't know. I still have not mentally wrapped my mind around what Craig Counsell did and what happened. But Bill, honestly, and I was just texting with Ben Kenny, who asked me kind of what the reaction has been like to this. And I said, there's two Brewers that I really like and look up to. It's not that I like all the guys on the roster, but two guys that mean a lot to me on this team. And one was Craig Counsell, who just out of nowhere turned and went to the Cubs. And the other is Brandon Woodruff, who's kind of been here from day one for this window of contention. Mm-hmm. And he could get non-tendered because his shoulder went out right before the postseason started. So I'm about as bummed and about as down and out on a team as you can be with the Brewers right now.
Yeah, I'm kind of there. I'm just sitting here wondering what they're going to do. Do I think that all of a sudden Mark Atanasio is going to run out and spend, $300 million? No, of course not. $200 million? No, of course not. 160? Maybe. 145, 150? Maybe. But I think the outfield is set. Your middle infield, I think, is set. But you have holes at third and first that have been glaring for a while. You obviously need to bolster your offense. And as Tim Dillard said, you need a starting pitcher and you need to bolster your bullpen. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 guys you got to get. I'm waiting to see if this team does it. Whether it's through trades that make this team better, or they go out and now I'm not going to say that they're in the Ohtani sweepstakes. They're not doing that. But is there going to be somebody available, whether it's via trade or that's going to be on the open market, that this team will go sign, that can actually add legitimacy, a bat to this lineup, and also a position player other than just a DH guy, a position player to first or third, or both? That's where I'm at.
I don't know that it makes sense for them to do that anymore. I think the time to do that would have been the last 3 years when you had club control and financial control over Woodruff, Burns, Peralta. Now you're not starting over. The Brewers have said, many different ways. They don't rebuild. They're not tearing it down to the studs, but they're getting younger, right? They're going to bring more young guys up next year. I don't know that it makes sense for them. I think they missed their opportunity to go get a big corner infielder, a third baseman or a first baseman, a big bat. I don't know if it makes sense for them to actually do that this offseason.
Do you think that if they did, this team is close?
No. I mean, who's their starting rotation next year? We think Corbin Burns is probably gone. Brandon Woodruff's not going to play. So it's Peralta.
Well, like Todd said, Ashby. Though, if they feel like they're close, they may not get rid of Burns.
That's true, I suppose. But even then, your rotation is worse this year than it was last year without Woodruff. Now you got Ashby back. So maybe I really like Aaron Ashby, so maybe he adds something. But maybe if Weimer and Terang take a big step in year 2, and maybe if Churio's all that in year 1, if he comes up later this year, I don't know. Last year was the year they won 90-plus games. Last year was the year they had at least most of their stud arms. No, I don't think they're close this year. I don't think they will be.
Okay. 877-867-1670. Where are you on this Brewers team right now? And we got a lot coming up. We're going to talk with Mike Clemens coming up in the final hour of the program today. Mike will be back with us because Mike, yesterday when the news broke, we had to push Mike off a day. So Mike will be back with us. But where are you for this time period right now? Where are you with this Brewers team as it sits now? The shock of the manager leaving, going to the Cubs, that's all worn off. Now you get back to baseball. Where are you on this Brewers team? 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Want to get it from you next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Everywhere you look, from groceries to utilities to gas, prices keep going up. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin can dramatically help lower your energy costs year-round by replacing drafty windows and doors in as little as 6 weeks. And now you can save even more by taking advantage of no interest and no down payment for up to 36 months when you order by November 30th. Bring the love of Wisconsin's outdoors in through the beauty and quality craftsmanship of Pella Windows and Doors. Whether you're updating or upgrading the look and comfort of your home, Pella has extensive lines of customizable options to meet your needs and your budget. Replacing drafty windows and doors can dramatically lower your energy costs. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin offers some of the most energy efficient windows in the industry. 0% interest and no down payment for up to 36 months when you order by November 30th. Set your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details. Offer ends 11/30/2023.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
You know that you might be thinking about getting out of town at some point, taking off, going someplace warm, throwing that shovel to the side. Could happen. It could happen. And if you're thinking about it, you're going, maybe I can't afford it, or maybe I got to do something where I can just pay it off. That would be our friends from Cruise Planners. Kirk and the gang can help you out. Call them 262-344-0697, 262-344-0697. And they have got the warm weather trips. They've got international trips. They can do stuff right here in the States. They can hook you up. Say you want to go to Super Bowl and you want to do the ultimate Vegas experience. You can do that. They can help you out with that. Now, I don't think they can get you tickets, but I'm sure they know people who could. But they got all kinds of good stuff. And if you're looking to go to an all-inclusive, if you're looking to take a cruise, whatever, they've got something for everybody, especially as the cold weather starts to seep in. And maybe you're one of those people that love to get away in the summertime and go to Alaska. Me, I've seen enough cold weather. I don't want to go to Alaska, but some may. Who knows? That's Cruise Planners, land and cruise vacations. Call Kirk anywhere in the continental U.S., 262-344-0697, 262-344-0697, 262-344-0697. And they've got something for everybody. They really, really do. Really good people over there. That's Kirk and the gang at Cruise Planners, land and cruise vacations. So give me your thoughts on the Brewers, just in general. 877-867-1670. Let's go to Tom, listening to us in Brookfield. Tom, welcome to the program.
Thanks for taking my call. I just wanted, I'm going back a little bit to your previous conversation, but my take is this is a big market versus...
Oh, I think we lost him.
I think the big market shut him down.
Yeah,
that's what it sounded like. We got Tony in Sussex we can take, though.
Let's go to Tony. Tony, how you doing, man? What's going on?
Hi, Bill. Over the past few years, we've had one of the best pitching staffs in baseball. And to me, the problem with this team was they just couldn't hit the ball. So, I mean, Counsell, if that's what if Kirk Counsell is saying, part of it or most of it was he just didn't feel he could win here. Is it because he couldn't get, batters that could hit the ball? Maybe they had to look at their scouting department better. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm not buying all of that. I think he could have won here if they would have done. All you got to do is hit the ball. Right. I mean, that's what they're paid to do. And some of the batting averages were pathetic. The team batting average was pathetic.
Right.
Though the pitching staff kept him, in it the whole time. So I'm not buying any of that. He could have won here. And, like I say, maybe something did happen with the front office, when they made some moves that weren't popular with him. But I'm not buying that they couldn't win here. Not with the team they had. Well, maybe not with some of those players because, like
I gotta think our system sucks.
I think it's on our end. Holy smokes!
Yeah, I gotta think our system sucks. Something's wrong, innately wrong. Where either that or we just got somebody on the other line who's just like, I don't want to hear it, and they hang up. But I don't know. Something's not right.
I'm cutting them off. Oh, this take sucks. I'm just gonna drop them mid call. No, I'll text our engineer. I think something's up. Yeah, Trevor,
if you're in the basement, come on up, take a look, see what's happening. I got to think it's our system. So, let's do this. Let's try Ed. Is this, you want to go to Ed and Madison? Let's try Ed and Madison. Ed, how you doing today?
Yeah, talk fast, Ed, before it drops you off.
Ed, we got a minute. Go.
Okay. I would love them to do something like you were saying, fold your arms and wait. I want Pete Alonso. I think that would be a nice addition. I think it would be a nice way to show the fans. And, if he's really into winning and he puts Winker in the lineup during the playoffs, that's not showing that you're really in the win and you're not built for October. So that's my take, and I'll let you go so I don't get disconnected.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it. The move to put Jesse Winker in the postseason, I understand the thought or the hope, but it to me was not a smart move. He didn't hit all season long. I didn't know what suddenly made people believe or made Craig Counsell believed that he was going to be a hitter come the postseason. I get the whole what was it, the pinch hitting appearances and such, and that was going to possibly work out because he was so much better as a pinch hitter than he was as an everyday player. Okay, whatever, but just didn't think that was going to happen. And and then it didn't, and obviously it's easy to second guess, and we kind of put palm to forehead when we saw that Jesse Winker was even going to be on the team to begin with, on the postseason roster. So I get it. Let's do this. We're going to step out. We got top of the hour right around the corner. We're going to come back. I got it. We can take some more phone calls, but I also want to get into midseason as we sit here for the Green Bay Packers. We've got Mike Clemens coming up the last hour of the show today. So, and we'll continue this into tomorrow as well, because we're just loaded today. A lot of opinion, a lot of reaction on this. Brewers lose their manager. Now, where do you stand on the Brewers? Whether it's optimism, you're going to sit back and wait, or you're just pissed, you're giving up hope. I mean, where are you at right now when it comes to the Brewers? Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Brewers are in the market for a new manager. That's after yesterday's shocking news that Craig Counsell was leaving to be the manager of the Chicago Cubs after 8 full seasons with the Brewers. Owner Mark Atanasio spoke with reporters saying they'd lost Counsell, but that, quote, Craig has lost us, and he's lost our community. Counsell's deal with the Cubs makes him the highest paid manager by far in the major leagues at roughly $8 million per year. The Brewers had reportedly offered a deal for $5.5 million, which also would have made him the highest paid manager. Atanasio said GM Ed Arnold had already put together a list of potential managers in case a day like yesterday arrived. Turning the Bucks, they improved to 4-2 on the year last night with a 129-125 win in Brooklyn. Back home tomorrow to face the Pistons. The Badgers opened the season last night with a 105-76 win over Arkansas State. 105 points, the most in Kohl Center history. They're going to host number 9 Tennessee on Friday.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
You're grateful for all the ways technology can connect us. Unfortunately, there are online scammers who want to take advantage. Malicious viruses, phishing scams, and identity theft are more prevalent than ever. That's why Rural Mutual includes cybersecurity protection as an option on every policy.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, the Badgers are getting ready to host Northwestern on Saturday. Wisconsin's offense has not been dynamic this year, averaging just 23.6 points per game, lowest since 2004. Coach Luke Fickell said they obviously need to change some things up, especially with so many of their playmakers hurt.
That's the challenge for us as we move down the stretch, and that's the challenge I've had a little bit for the offenses. Based on some of the things we've got, we might have to be a little bit more creative and find ways to get some of the guys that can make some plays on the field, whether that's with their arm or with their feet.
Kick on Saturday is at 2:30, and the Packers off today. They're going to travel to Pittsburgh to face the Steelers on Sunday. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Good day. Then again, it depends on what your thought is. But good day to you. Glad to have you on board the Bill Michaels Show. We got off to a fast and furious start today. We really did. Reaction still pouring in to Craig Counsell leaving for Chicago. And then you take your focus away from that. And now you start to think, okay, what about the Brewers? What about the Brewers? What is my gut telling me? What is my gut telling me? What I want you to do is this. Mark Atanasio spoke yesterday about this, and he had to. We talked about that. He needed to come out and say something, okay? What I want you to do is take a listen, okay? For all of you that are listening on the network, for all of you that are watching on YouTube and the streams and everything, take a listen to what Mark Atanasio had to say yesterday in answering questions and talking about the future, and listen to the tenor of his voice. to what he has to say. And then it's probably more fair to ask you, Craig's left, Mark's got to talk about it. Now you've got to make some decisions and you don't have to. I mean, you can obviously sit back like I am and I'm saying, okay, show me something. But then you can say, okay, this is now what I'm thinking. This is Mark Atanasio yesterday after the announcement was made, or last night after the announcement was made that Craig Counsell is going to the Cubs.
Next year will be my 20th season owning the club. And what drew me to Milwaukee back to 2004 was that I found that Milwaukee and Wisconsin were special as a community. And I think the entire group, including some folks on the phone here, have made it a special place to play baseball. I set forth 4 pledges back when we bought the club. And, to underscore those pledges a little more briefly, we have a commitment to the community. We have a commitment to players in our organization, and we have a commitment to winning. And that commitment is for today, it's for tomorrow, it's for next season, and it extends to the next generation and beyond, as everyone knows from what we're doing with the stadium financing plan. With that, and we're all here today because we lost Craig, but I've reflected on this. Craig has lost us, and he's lost our community also. It's really a special place to be. With that, I'm open for questions.
All right, and just a reminder, if you have a question, to use the raise your hand feature. It's located under reactions at the bottom of the screen. If you're not actively asking a question, as Tyler mentioned, please remain on mute. And with that, we're going to get started with Todd Rosiak.
Hey, Mark, thanks for doing this. I guess the most obvious question to start with is just your reaction to how this all played out. And secondly, I think the question that everybody's kind of wondering about is, were you given an opportunity to counteroffer at the end before Craig ultimately made the decision to leave?
What was the first? There was a 2-part question there, Ty. What was the first part?
Just your general reaction to losing Craig, and especially to a rival like the Cubs. Thanks.
It is, to use probably the most overused term in sports, it is what it is. I reflect on the fact that we've been successful now for a really long time. I think that's part of an enormous effort. All the players have been through here. Last year, we had upwards of 60 players. We have an entire coaching staff. They're all returning, by the way. I don't know that we've announced that, but they're all returning. We've got upwards of 450 people in baseball operations, which includes development people down through the organization. We've got over 200 people in business who make the entertainment experience great, and also, frankly, the ballpark a great place to play. And a whole community that supported the team so that we can make American Family Field so special. So, and it's among the best ballparks in the country. So there's a lot that's gone into that excellence. And I reflected on that and reflected on the fact that we're hungry for more. It's nice we made the playoffs all these years. We'd like that excellence to extend into the postseason, and that continues to be our focus. I guess in the first few hours, in the aftermath of learning about this for the first time this morning, I talked to Craig, over the weekend. It's the first I heard about it, so it's the most reflection you can get from me at this point.
And we'll go to Adam.
Hi, Mark. Thanks for doing this. I'm sure you've had in your mind that, Craig could move somewhere else for next season. What's your level of shock, though, that it's the Cubs?
you know, listen, when he first told me, he said, "You messing with me?" I'll just be direct. But you know, we had a very open-ended process here. I told Craig we were going to let him explore. It took longer than I thought it would when I didn't felt, you know, good to my word and wanted to give him that commitment. And you know, since I've had a few hours to reflect, Adam, you know, we need to compete with 29 teams, and there's a balanced schedule, and we want to beat everybody. You know, all I could get out of my head this offseason was that we went down to Texas and sweep the Rangers, and they won the World Series. That's what I focused on. So, you know, I did count in and said Craig would possibly go somewhere else. And, you know, by the way, there's a lot of talk about the Mets. Well, guess who we open with next year is the Mets. So, you know, if he didn't come back to us, we're going to see him sometime. So, you know, we're ready to compete with everybody. We had the 5th best record in baseball this year.
All right, we'll go with Steve McGargy.
Just wanted to reiterate what Todd had asked. Were you given a chance to kind of match whatever the Cubs offered at the end there? And how did you feel about the offer you had made to him early in the negotiation process?
Yeah, you know, I don't, negotiations and getting into a tit for tat of this happened or that happened, or, you know, I was informed this morning that Craig that he was going to the Cubs. You know, for several weeks, we've had an offer that would have made him the highest paid manager in baseball, both, you know, per season and total package. I felt very good about that. And he made a decision to go another direction.
We'll go with Craig Matzik.
Hi there, Jack Grau, WTMJ News. What are you going to be looking for in your next manager?
I like the forward-looking question. And interestingly, this morning, one of the things I did is I started talking to some of our team leaders, players, about, you know, what do they like about what we have and what could we be better at, what should we be looking for? And I started those conversations. I expect to have other direct conversations with them. We had a really good thing. We have a really good thing, and I give credit for helping to build that, and for adding all these coaches, all of whom have stayed. So, you know, we're going to look for a manager that can continue having a terrific clubhouse culture, and that can, you know, help us keep winning and hopefully get over the hump in the playoffs. And then, by the way, that also extends to how we build a roster. Matt and I have been talking a lot about that. Is there something about a playoff roster that's different, you know, than a roster that gets you through the marathon of the season? What kind of a roster do you need to get through a sprint? And so, you know, it's all about, one of the things about sports. I was talking to a team owner in the NBA the other night, and he said, you know, the hard things about sports and the good thing about sports is, you know, there's a score, you know, who wins and who loses every year. There's one team left at the end, and 29 teams wanting, and, you know, we were left wanting again this year. And, you know, we want to be one of those teams at the top of the pile one of these seasons.
Lance Allen.
Hey, Mark, I know it's a business, but I know, you know, with your comments earlier about Craig lost us or whatever, do you kind of feel a little bit taken aback, betrayed, whatever you want to say?
I don't, definitely not betrayed. I mean, you know, I'm so high on what we have that I can't imagine somebody wanting to be somewhere else. You know, and we've had some players who've chosen to stay here for their careers. Bob Uecker's chosen to stay here for his career, and Robin Yount did in the past. And, you know, and I plan on, you know, our goal for our family is for me and my sons to be the stewards, for the community for a long time. And then hopefully, past 2050, someone else will have the same emotion we have for the team, the community, and it's very special. It's from the first day I got here, there's no place in the country like Milwaukee, and I go everywhere. You raise money, you go to 50 state capitals, from Juneau to wherever.
All right, Kurt.
Yeah, Mark, thanks for doing this. There were reports about the offer that you guys had out there. Were you willing to go as high as what the Cubs ended up offering? And then sort of as an aside, what's the difficulty of trying to evaluate, manager salaries like relative to sort of how the numbers are maybe a bit easier for what a player is worth?
And, Kurt, I don't, not ducking the question. We didn't come together at the end, and relative to managers, and I think most things are what someone's willing to pay for them. And Craig was definitely a key part of our success, but if I wanted to list all the reasons we're successful, we'd be on another half an hour. So I don't think that I think the analytics on that are a long way from being developed. But that wouldn't enter into things for us. And Craig, I'm not going to speak for Craig. He spoke plenty over the last several weeks as to what he was trying to do, and see if it's successful or this was a one-off.
Adam?
Mark, you said the coaches are back. Does that include Pat Murphy as bench coach? And as an aside, is there anybody on your staff that you're willing to say already will be someone you'll want to interview on the staff or in the system who you'll want to interview for that position?
I'm going to let Matt Arnold handle. Matt and I decided I'd handle the contract piece of this, and he would handle the transition piece. I'm going to let Matt Arnold answer that. But all the coaches have signed contracts to come back.
Back to Todd.
Mark, obviously you want this process to play out with you guys ultimately getting a manager that you want. Do you have any kind of idea as far as a timetable of how you think this might stretch out, how long this might be, or do you think the process will get underway with Matt being at the GM meetings in Scottsdale this week?
And again, I'll have Matt address that, but he's done a fair amount of background work. We thought it was going to muddy things if we started having interviews, third parties. He has conducted a couple of internal interviews for what that's worth. And, when he was in the air when this all took place, I was able to get the message to him. And we're committed to finding, a manager who can be as successful as Craig.
Stephanie Sutton.
Hi, Mark. What is your message to fans? Because you have a lot of shocked Brewers fans right now with Craig Counsell going to the Cubs.
I think the message is what I said up front, Stephanie, and everyone can, make their own assessment as to how they feel, but hopefully, they embrace our commitment, which is, passionate and profound. And we plan on winning with the next manager.
Steve McGargy.
Thank you for doing this. And I was just wondering, when you had talked about Craig's future and availabilities during the season, it seemed a lot of times you would talk about the possibility he might step away from the game, maybe see his sons play college ball. Was there a particular point in the last few months where it became more apparent to you that there was a realistic possibility that he might choose to manage elsewhere? I didn't know if there was a certain point during the year where it became apparent that was maybe a more realistic possibility than you might have thought of earlier.
Yeah, well, relative, I can only answer relative to me what, he would have to answer for him. I'd say early September, he reflected the shift to me that he was looking to manage and possibly manage away from our community, our organization, our team. And, my goal was to start. His first goal was to make sure it didn't become a distraction. And the next goal was to, the way I got brought up, and everybody knows my dad sang the national anthem for the first 10 years. My mom still lives next door. And by the way, if I hear from her on anything, it's if I'm smiling after a loss, she says, when did you get so comfortable with losing? It's more during losing streaks. But, I want what's best for everybody. And so, when you think about our commitment to our organization, our people, I want what's best for them. I want to give them career paths. I want to do everything I can to help them succeed. And, for Craig, who, was in the organization with me back to 2007, player, front office with Doug Melvin, picked as a manager without any competition because it was, a handful of games into the season. He'd given a lot of years to the organization and, asked for the opportunity to do this. And so, I want to support our people. This is a little, turned on its head then. It didn't work out for us, but I know we did, I was brought up to do the right thing and I feel we did the right thing here. And this is such an attractive place to manage. We really have a lot of inbound inquiries today, and we will succeed.
There you go. That is Mark Atanasio speaking to the media last night. And I got reaction from people that are, emailing and chiming in. So let's do this. We'll step away for a quick minute and we'll come back, get some more of your thoughts as to what Mark had to say. And then you can say, okay, this is where I'm at regarding the Brewers now. And I think that's a fair way to go. Hey, it is Taco Tuesday night at Curly's Waterfront Sports Bar and Grill on Pewaukee Lake, Lakeview Boulevard. And don't forget, they also have the tequila raffle going on that's going to benefit the Pewaukee Food Pantry. So 2 great reasons to head out to Curly's Waterfront Sports Bar and Grill, Lakeview Boulevard in Pewaukee. They've got Taco Tuesday and darts and all that kind of good stuff tonight. And all throughout the month of November, they have the tequila raffle going on for all kinds of high-end tequilas. Excuse me, almost sneezed. And don't forget, you can go out there and then the proceeds go to the Pewaukee Food Pantry. So you're doing something good in return. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Everywhere you look, from groceries to utilities to gas, prices keep going up. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin can dramatically help lower your energy costs year-round by replacing drafty windows and doors in as little as 6 weeks. And now you can save even more by taking advantage of no interest and no down payment for up to 36 months when you order by November 30th. Bring the love of Wisconsin's outdoors in through the beauty and quality craftsmanship of Pella Windows and Doors. Whether you're updating or upgrading the look and comfort of your home, Pella has extensive lines of customizable options to meet your needs and your budget. Replacing drafty windows and doors can dramatically lower your energy costs. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin offers some of the most energy-efficient windows in the industry. 0% interest and no down payment for up to 36 months when you order by November 30th. Set your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details. Offer ends 11/30/2023.
The all-new Potawatomi Casino Hotel has something you gotta see. Play more slots and games, and you could say, "Show me the money," to reveal up to 10 grand each Thursday. 800,000 in prizes is up for grabs. 40 winners each week. This October and November at Potawatomi, Milwaukee. When you're ready to win, just say, "Show me the money." More info at paysbig.com. Must be 21 years old and a club member to play.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
It's that time of year if you're starting to think about indoor activities, and I know I am, and got friends that are going to be coming over. I've got friends that are going to be coming to town. You start thinking about indoor stuff. The outdoor stuff pretty much done. It's about time this weekend. The bar stools and everything are going away outside. The tiki bar is going to be completely shut down. Water's been drained out of it. I'm done with the outside. So inside, you're thinking about pool tables and shuffleboards and table games and dart boards and accessories and all that kind of stuff, including in-home entertaining. say a bar stools, what have you. If you're looking for that, the best stuff around. And I say that, and some people roll their eyes, but I truly mean it. If you've never been to Master Z's, you don't know what I'm talking about. You got to stop in. Master Z's on Blue Mountain Road in Brookfield, and people come from all over because their showroom is so huge. And as they say, you can see it today and get it tomorrow. They'll do setup. They can do delivery. You can take it home, whatever it happens to be. All you got to do is call 262-746-5931, 262-746-5931. That's Master Z's on Blue Mountain Road in Brookfield. And there you go. So if you are thinking about it this time of year, good stuff. Okay, reaction coming in. And I wanted to get some of the emails. Elliot, listening to us in Madison, said, quote, Mark Atanasio said there's no better place to be and live than in Milwaukee. So why doesn't he live here? Elliot in Madison. He's got a home here, Elliot. I know he has another home. And my assumption is he's not in town. And because otherwise he would have done that press conference down at American Family Field. But I don't know. I don't know the owners of the Bucks and the Brewers. I mean, I think some of the minority owners live here all the time, but I don't know, like the New York owners, I don't know if they live here full time or not. I think they have residences still in New York. And I think Mark Atanasio, if I'm not mistaken, I think still has a residency in LA, unless I'm mistaken. But I don't know. Look, you've got to say things to endear yourself to the audience, whether it's, see-through or not. But it is a great place. I can at least attest to that. It is a great place. Case in Waukesha says he really discredited Counsell for his contribution. He said that he could speak for an hour and a half. Actually, I think he said for a half hour, just to be exact, about all of the reasons they were successful. And he didn't give much credit to Counsell. That's lame on Mark's part. That's from Case in Waukesha. You can clearly tell Mark is stung by this. Like he's mad. Doesn't want to say it, but he's mad.
He sounded like someone who just got dumped in that press conference. Exactly.
And is trying to be the stand-up guy. But you can tell he's not happy about this. Again, nobody in that organization saw this coming. Even he said, the Cubs, wait, what? Are you kidding me? So this was probably one of the best kept secrets ever. So I know we went long with Mark Atanasio and we're late for a break now. So we'll take one and we'll come back, and I want to continue with this. Angela and Tomahawk, Ben and as he says, DeCross. I'll get to both your emails as well, and then everybody's reaction over on the live stream. I want to get into all of this because today it's still raw. We got Mike Clemens coming up in the last hour of the program, talking a lot of Packers football today, so don't go anywhere. We're still going to talk a lot of Packers, and I think tomorrow we'll push off the midseason grades for a Wednesday when the Packers are back in the practice field and such, and we can get into that tomorrow night during the huddle as well. A reminder, the Green and Gold postgame show coming up. We're going to be live at the Distillery in Grafton coming up this Sunday. Green Bay and Pittsburgh go at it, and then we go on the air immediately following with the Green and Gold postgame show live from the Distillery in Grafton. A portion of the proceeds all weekend long, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, go to Fisher House, Wisconsin. So if you're looking for a place to go and have a beverage, go and sit down and have some food, watch a game, whatever it may be, make it Distillery in Grafton. They are donating a portion of the proceeds to Fisher House, Wisconsin, helping our veterans, military members, and their families. And we say a big shout out to Tim and the gang out there at the Distillery in Grafton. And thank you so much for inviting us out. We are happy to be coming out there and sharing that day and sharing that experience with all of you. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Everybody's buzzing about Quick Trip's possibly pilfered potatoes. We have them priced so low, some say they're illegal. Swipe potato fries? Potatoes ill-gotten? Stash browns? Come on, these are not hot potatoes. But it is a quick hot savings. You might say it's a steal. No, don't say that. 99 cents for a 5-pound bag. 5 pounds of potatoes under $1? What a heist. A perfect score for those large meal gatherings. Quick Trip. We got your taters covered.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
If by chance you are looking for upholstery work, maybe an awning out in front of your home or your business, something on your patio, maybe you're looking for some boat covers, seat work, the off season's here, you might as well, right? Go to Dwayne's, DUANES, Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com. That's Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com. Call them 715-870-2119, 715-870-2119, whether it's office furniture, there's awnings you can do. He's even done gym equipment. I know that somebody had sent all their office chairs to him, and I can't even tell you how many were there. There was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of office chairs in his place the other day. And like I said, boat covers, boat upholstery, tonneau covers, you name it. All that good stuff. He can do it. That's Dwayne's, DUANES, Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com. That is Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com. And he is by far the best, hands down, the best. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Got an email from Angela, said, after listening to Mark Atanasio, I feel that the wait and see approach to see what Mark and Matt do. I love my Brewers, but I can't help but think that they are same old, and win our money for our team when we know we're going to be shorthanded entering the season. That is from Angela listening to us in Tomahawk. And that's fair. You know, I said that's kind of where I'm at. I understand it. You want to wait and see what now is going to happen. You know, they've got some decisions to make. It was weird, though, wasn't it? It was kind of Grant, it was an awkward moment when, you know, Adam McCalvey followed up and said, hey, just to be clear, you know, Pat Murphy, the bench coach, you said all the coaches are signed under contract. And then all of a sudden he started to get hemming and hawing and said he's going to leave the contracts to Matt. And did you understand that whole back and forth? Because it kind of lost me.
Well, what I heard and what our guy Todd Rosiak and Kurt Hogue, what they wrote about and came out in the Journal Sentinel today is it sounds like Pat Murphy's free to do what he wants. So if he wants to follow counsel, it seems like the Brewers are inclined to let him go. Everyone else is remaining under staff, or remaining on staff and under contract, especially Chris Hook, the pitching coach, who players were asking about. According to the sources, like players wanted to know, like, is Chris Hook going to remain around? So it sounds like the rest of the staff will, but Bill, that makes hiring the next guy so interesting because whoever comes in isn't going to be able to bring a lot of their own. Yeah. So that makes this kind of messy.
Already has the staff. And it was really weird because he was almost like, oh no, everybody else is locked up. Nobody's going anywhere. You know, it was very quick and emphatic to say that. And my first thought was, well, if you're having an expanded search, wouldn't you allow the next manager to bring his own guys in? And they're very much about keeping the continuity. It's like, it was almost to me like, Craig, you can leave, but you're not taking anybody with you. To hell with you. Get out of here. I mean, that's kind of what it sounded like. Like you had mentioned it. It sounded like he was just dumped. And it's like, go ahead and go, but you're not taking anything with you.
Well, I think part of the Brewers' success the last couple of years is everybody from the manager to the general manager to the assistant coaches, the personnel to the owner, they were on the same team. They were operating together as a unit. It wasn't one entity controlling everything. And I think in a market size like Milwaukee, the way they operate, that's necessary. So I think that's probably their goal moving forward. The problem is it's just a tough sell for an established manager to come in. It's like, you can't bring your own staff. You got to follow a lot of guidelines with the front office. And at some point, Craig Counsell no longer became okay with that, you know, on top of wanting to make money. And I think it probably stems, based on what I've heard from people that I've talked to, it started with that Hader trade. There was a divide that was created between the front office and Counsell. And from that point on, it was never really the same.
This one's from Ben in DeCross, not La Crosse, DeCross. He says, Mark Atanasio, when asked about the message to fans, said, quote, hopefully they embrace our commitment, passionate and profound, and that we plan on winning. And then he says, what the hell does that mean, Mark? From Ben in DeCross. I did catch that. That was politician speak. You know, as he said, I mean, the message to fan, hopefully they embrace our commitment. If they haven't embraced your commitment by now, they never will. I mean, that's what you've said since day one. Passionate and profound. Profound. I've never heard anybody describe their love of a team as profound. But okay, it just sounded like he was kind of fishing for words. Not that I'm going to sit here and rip everything Mark says, but the message to fans is we still want to win. But he didn't want to talk about money being spent. He talked about the talent. Then all of that got pushed to Matt. Matt's going to deal with the contracts and the players, and I'm going to deal with it. It was kind of like, no, Matt's got that. Matt's going to do that. He didn't want to get into any of that. And that's okay, because you're still here talking about the loss of a manager more than anything. And kind of he's as the captain of this entire ship, he's trying to steady the waters, because right now it's really choppy. You had a guy not only leave, but didn't tell a damn soul he was leaving until he had left. And you've got to steady the waters. And that's what he was here to do last night.
That's what I heard from Mark. I basically heard, look, we were patient with Craig. We extended good faith to him by allowing him to play out his contract and explore his options, including stepping away from baseball. And he rewarded us by negotiating through the media, through leaks, and in the darkness of night going to sign a deal with the Cubs before ever coming to us to talk about money or anything like that. It sounds like Mark is sad, and I think he has good right to be, because I think the Brewers did Craig a solid over the last year, and I think it became a distraction at times as a story in the locker room. I don't know. I'm more sympathetic to Mark and the Brewers after hearing that.
I was surprised when Mark said Craig in early September talked to them about his shift. And that to me was the first time I'd ever heard that he had said there was a shift, and that Craig had let them know that he was going to manage, but he was leaning towards not managing in Milwaukee. And that was the first time I had heard that. So that to me, I was like, oh, well, wait a minute. So, and I don't know about you, Grant, but that was the first time I'd heard anything like that. And then he said, we did everything we could so it did not become a distraction. Well, until he said that, I never heard a word about it. Did you?
No. It was bizarre. Well, I didn't want it to become a distraction. Well, that can of worms was open on opening day when you allowed your manager to open the season, in the final year of his contract, which again, I was fine with. And I think the Brewers understood and probably hoped that there was some level of trust. You've been here a while. You know us. We know you. We'll allow you to think this out without making you sign a commitment. And I think if the Brewers could go back and do it again, they wouldn't, because they probably feel a little burned by Counsell and how he handled this.
Yeah. Yep. I would go along with that. It sounds like they are just scorned. They're not saying it, but you can kind of tell. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Final hour of the show today. We're going to talk a lot of Brewers football. So just hang in there. I know there's people wanting to talk some Brewers, and we're going to do that today. And we're going to do that coming up tomorrow as well. A lot of that, but this is kind of a really interesting and could be somewhat, franchise moving moment. So it's interesting. Tom says, I still say the Hader trade started all of this. Will says tit for tat with the Hader trade and the disruption in the locker room. So he's basically saying, so Craig could do what he wanted. Who cares? Winning Gambler says, strange time to have a shift. You could tell by some of his statements that the last couple of months he was gone, and even before when he wanted a lame duck season. Bryce said it looks like Craig Counsell just didn't respect Mark Atanasio. Others are saying Mark got exactly what he deserved. When you're all about the money and not about winning, guys like Craig are pissed off and they want to get out of here. This is from Dwayne. We should all get a card and sign it and send it to Ross. What a kick in the grapes to David Ross for the Chicago Cubs manager. So I get it, no doubt. Let's do this. We'll step out. One more break until we get to the top of the hour. Hang in there. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Everywhere you look, from groceries to utilities to gas, prices keep going up. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin can dramatically help lower your energy costs year-round by replacing drafty windows and doors in as little as 6 weeks. And now you can save even more by taking advantage of no interest and no down payment for up to 36 months when you order by November 30th. Bring the love of Wisconsin's outdoors in through the beauty and quality craftsmanship of Pella Windows and Doors. Whether you're updating or upgrading the look and comfort of your home, Pella has extensive lines of customizable options to meet your needs and your budget. Replacing drafty windows and doors can dramatically lower your energy costs. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin offers some of the most energy efficient windows in the industry. 0% interest and no down payment for up to 36 months when you order by November 30th. Set your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details. Offer ends 11/30/2023.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Always a crazy one, broke into the stadium and I wrote your number on the 50-yard line. You were always a perfect one and a valedictorian, so under your number I wrote call for a good time.
Good to have you back. The Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. Reaction still coming in regarding the Brewers, Mark Atanasio's presser that you just heard, and obviously, just, kind of feelings in general. JD says, sitting on the shores in Hawaii, still processing this mess. I get the fact that Counsell's relationship with the Brewers must have soured in the past few years, but to me, that does not excuse the fact that a local guy born and raised a Brewer could stoop this low. I get that he may have wanted to give the big FU to ownership, but he has to know that the fans are loyal to the bone and would never forgive him for this. It would have been a much bigger FU to the ownership going to a non-rival. If that would have happened, I believe he would have received tons of support and turned several fans against ownership. This move turns the majority of the anger towards him. When Favre left, most turned on Packers management until he gave the finger by getting the fans and getting revenge via the Vikings. By Counsell going to the Cubs immediately, my feeling is giving a double middle finger to both the organization and the fans. I personally can never welcome him back. Great show as always. Please keep the weather warm until I get back. And then he sends me a picture off a balcony of palm trees and an ocean. Oh, just kick me in the groin. Although it isn't too bad out here right now. It's not a bad way to go. It's so hard to say what a person feels when they leave a community knowing they're going to a rival. You know what I mean? I can't put words in Craig's mouth. I can't say that this is what he's thinking or what he's not thinking. I know that people feel it. That I know. And that I understand as well. 877-867-1670. I got our buddy Steve says, I think that the managerial opening for the Brewers could be interesting to say the very least. I saw Ken Rosenthal mention names like Don Mattingly and even Ricky Weeks. With the success that the Brewers have had with the hiring of Counsell as a former Brewer player, do you see Weeks as a valuable candidate? To add insult to injury, I'm going to predict that Counsell will win the Manager of the Year for 2023. Ouch. Yeah, he's one of the finalists, by the way. This offseason is going to be even more interesting. I hope that the Brewers use some of the salary money they were going to pay Counsell and then add it to player acquisition. The winter meetings will be eventful, to say the very least. Sheesh, what a bizarre 24 hours. And this one sums it up. And this is from Michael, who says, I have to admit, when I heard that Counsell was leaving for the Cubs, I wanted to throw up. Now I'm pissed. What a roller coaster of emotions. I'm not sure when I'm going to get off the track, but damn, what a wild ride today. Thanks for taking me on it again, as always. That's from Michael. That's kind of the day it's been. I can go along with that. I'm still torn. My cousin called me and said, hey, I know you really liked Craig. And I have a different relationship because I've known Craig since I walked through the doors of the state back in 99, going on 25 years ago. And his family and everything, did some, charitable stuff with them. And I'm torn. So my cousin said, does this mean you're going to go get a Cubs hat? Hell no. Hell no. Not doing that. Not doing that. I wish them all the best. Not when they're playing the Brewers, and certainly not to win the division. But I like Craig. He is a very close to the vest kind of guy. His emotions are his emotions. He's got all the makings to be a terrific manager because he's very mild-mannered. But hell no, I'm not buying a Cubs hat. I think my head would snap from my neck if I did before it would allow me to put a Cubs hat on this head. I can't. I just can't do it. I have disliked not so much the players in the organization, but more so the fan base. Just for the arrogance of nothing more than anything. So I just couldn't do it. I just absolutely couldn't do it. I'm sorry. So, this one's from Al, who says, I'm heading over to Buzzard Billy's in La Crosse right now. I'm going to stop and have me a couple of beers and maybe one of their specials today. I just can't think anymore about Craig Counsell becoming a Cubs manager. Thank you very much. That's kind of where people are at. I get it. Grant, anything else before we move on from the Cubs in this final couple of minutes, and then we head into Packers coverage coming up next hour?
Man, you complain about Cubs fans. I'll complain about Cubs fans for a sec before we pause the top of the hour. They suck. And the fact that they're celebrating this, I hate it, because I have a bunch of Cubs fans in my life for the last couple of years. They've been like, oh, this team sucks. I've been paying attention to the team this summer. Well, those are the types of teams that Craig Counsell's taken to the playoffs for the last 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And now our guy falls into their lap and they get to celebrate. This whole thing makes me sick to my stomach.
Right.
So I guess that's all I have to say.
Nope, I get it. Got another hour yet to go. The good news is we're going to flip the switch. We're going to head over to some Packers coverage. And we're going to talk with Mike Clemens, who we bumped yesterday because this all broke about this time. So we got a lot coming up. Don't go anywhere. We're going to deal with the midseason grades tomorrow, but we can kind of start talking about it now. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Brewers are in the market for a new manager. That's after yesterday's shocking news that Craig Counsell was leaving to be the manager of the Chicago Cubs after 8 full seasons with the Brewers. Owner Mark Atanasio spoke with reporters saying they'd lost Counsell, but that, quote, Craig has lost us, and he's lost our community. Counsell's deal with the Cubs makes him the highest paid manager by far in the major leagues at roughly $8 million per year. The Brewers had reportedly offered a deal for $5.5 million, which also would have made him the highest paid manager. Atanasio said GM Ed Arnold had already put together a list of potential managers in case a day like yesterday arrived. Turning the Bucks, they improved to 4-2 on the year last night with a 129-125 win in Brooklyn. Back home tomorrow to face the Pistons. The Badgers opened the season last night with a 105-76 win over Arkansas State. 105 points, the most in Kohl Center history. They're going to host number 9 Tennessee on Friday.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
As a proud sponsor of the WIAA, Rural Mutual roots for all of Wisconsin's student athletes. Whether they're a hometown hero or they dream of the national spotlight, sportsmanship keeps Wisconsin strong. Visit ruralmutual.com/WIAA to learn more about how they support high school athletics.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, the Badgers are getting ready to host Northwestern on Saturday. Wisconsin's offense has not been dynamic this year, averaging just 23.6 points per game, lowest since 2004. Coach Luke Fickell said they obviously need to change some things up, especially with so many of their playmakers hurt.
That's the challenge for us as we move down the stretch, and that's the challenge I've had a little bit for the offenses. Based on some of the things we've got, we might have to be a little bit more creative and find ways to get some of the guys that can make some plays on the field, whether that's with their arm or with their feet.
Kick on Saturday is at 2:30, and the Packers off today. They're going to travel to Pittsburgh to face the Steelers on Sunday. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Tonight is tonight's a night at home. I love household projects. I just do. Keeps me busy. It's a stress reliever, all that kind of stuff. So I got a little bit of running around to do. And my son got married a year ago, and I have yet to put some of his wedding pictures in frames and put them up around the house. So today I'm going to go pick up a few frames. Did you notice that more and more stuff when it comes to decorative things for your home is now battery operated? I'm out of batteries, man. I gotta head over to Batteries Plus or something. I gotta go do that. But one of the stops I'm making is at Robert's Specialty Meats, and I know you probably roll your eyes because you're like, it's a commercial. It's really not. This is exactly what I'm doing tonight. Tonight I'm either going to pick up an Al Capone roast, a steak, or some sausages. I just can't determine what. yet. I'll know when I get there. I'm grilling tonight. It's not a bad night, not a bad day. A little breezy, not a bad day. I'm going to fire up the grill. I'm going to grill. I'm going to have a beer. And I'm going to finish cleaning up the bar and turn on the TVs down there. And that's it. That's my night. And it's all going to revolve around dinner and Robert's specialty meats. It's just, I've been salivating and hankering and whatever other adjective you want to, or verb you want to throw out. But I've been looking forward to this for a while. And today I'm going to do it. Damn it, I'm going to do it. So Robert's specialty meats in Waukesha, here I come. And I will walk through the door and I will say, I want that, please, because that's where my mood is. But whether it's the garlic parm chicken skewers or the ribs on a stick or the steaks or the Al Capone roast, whatever it is, that place is awesome. And I love just walking in there. And I never thought I'd become a butcher fanatic, but I walk in and I just kind of stare and like, okay, I can grill that. Let's do that. So that's the kind of night it is. I can't wait. Robert Specialty Meats in Waukesha. He is yours and mine hometown butcher on Sunset Drive in Waukesha. That's my night. That's my night. Probably should have did that last night, but yeah, I just didn't. I was busy. I was fielding calls and conference calls and all kinds of stuff, and so I was kind of figuring. Hey, I got a question. And maybe even Grant, you might know the answer to this one. We see all over, if you follow on Facebook and Instagram and all the different, social media outlets, you see advertising all the time for different stuff. The gaming consoles, you know what I'm talking about? These things where you plug it into the back of the HDMI port of your television and suddenly you got 10,000 games.
Which console specifically?
I don't know. There's like 20 of them out there now. Here's the thing. I've got an old, back when they came out a couple of years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago, they came out with the Atari Gold, and all of the Atari games are on it. Because it used to be, it took one huge game and all the computer technology for one game. Now the computer is and the chips are and the processors are so small, they can put it all into a Fire Stick type of thing, into a USB. So my question is, has anybody ever bought one of these? And the reason being is because the Atari game is, as much as I loved it, it's a pain in the ass because it's one player. They give you two controllers, but you can't even get the two controllers hooked up right. So I've decided that I want to move on from this because I've got a TV sitting in my bar that does nothing. There's nothing to it. And I was always a big fan going back in the day. There was always the Pac-Man. There was always the Brick Break. There was always the Asteroids, the Galaga, the Space Invaders, all the Donkey Kong, all that stuff. And all these games are saying, hey, you can play all these games. But every time I go to look at one of these games, it has like one of those games on it and a whole bunch of games I've never heard of. So is anybody ever used one of these things, or is this like a big scam? That's what I want to know.
I've had friends who have like a little Raspberry Pi computer that they've built, like computery friends, and you can fit a lot of these old games on one system. I'm just not a big retro gamer. Like I'll play my PS5 and like I have a Nintendo Switch and I'll do some PC gaming, but the old video games are not my thing. So I'm probably not the person to ask, but I know that you should be able to get access to a lot of those games for not a lot of money, especially just for at the bar,
Yeah. The problem of it is, and you can get two controllers and one of these little, plug-in units and all that kind of stuff for like $60 or $100. But the problem is I've been reading on online reviews and it seems like all of these people are asking for money back. Like nothing works. So I'm wondering, I'm wondering if any of this stuff actually works or if it's all just a scam. Because I want to get something for the bar. So when I'm sitting in the bar and I'm fiddling around, I got a game on next to me, and on the other TV next to that, I can be doing any one of those retro games. Because everything I see, like I just went to one of those game sites today, and it's 10,000 games, which is crazy. But I started looking, and I'm through like 8,000 of these games, and all I've seen that I recognized was Asteroids and Pac-Man. And even then, it's Miss Pac-Man. It's not even the original Pac-Man. It's Miss Pac-Man. So those are the only two games on there that I recognized. And a lot of those games that I noticed are all in parentheses. They're all Chinese. All the voice, everything is in Chinese. So I'm thinking, what the hell are you actually getting? I don't get me wrong. Maybe there's some great games in there, but it's not the games that I want. So that's what I'm looking for. So if anybody knows let me know. Let me know. So anyway, there you go.
I wish I could help you more.
Yeah. If anybody out there knows, give me a shout. Let me know. I can actually buy the tabletop game, but I don't want to spend all that money on one game if I don't have to. I'd rather get 3, 4, 10 of them, whatever. So there you go. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Coming up here in the next break and to take it the rest of the way will be Mike Clemens. Wisconsin Brews says, yes, they work listening to Game Console chat on radio. Okay. Just if they work, let me know. I really, and which one has, if you know which one has the games that I want. So that's the other, because I've actually emailed some of these places and they won't even respond. They don't even respond. So the Green Bay Packers are sitting here, it's the midway point of the season for many teams. And we always talk about grades and what have you seen and what have you found out? And, it's kind of a fair assessment at this point. There's some people that say, no, I got to wait till the end of the year. I'm like, I don't know what you're waiting for. Is it going to get better? Is it going to get worse? Is it going to get dramatically better or worse? Who knows? But what have we learned halfway through the season? What have we learned halfway through the season? So if I have to put into like 5 categories, my first thing is the quarterback play. That's what everybody circled on their sheet moving into this season regarding the Green Bay Packers. Barstool Sports had a very they're at their midseason point, and they had a very weird grade for Jordan Love, saying, yes, pay him all the money he wants, and that way you're stuck with him. Almost as if to throw a parody shout towards Aaron Rodgers. So my grade for Jordan Love right now is probably a D+. I don't know. D+ or a C. I'm not impressed. I'm not underwhelmed. It's kind of what I thought it would be, but I don't know. You could even say it's an INC, it's an incomplete. But remember, we were sitting here talking at the beginning of the season saying how many games would it take? And you and I figured it would probably be 3 or 4, and we would kind of know. Mark Murphy said it would be 7 or 8, and he would kind of know. I don't know what that grade is right now. Kind of a D+, C- somewhere in there. The offense as a whole, and when you start to talk about some of the young guys, Christian Watson, I'd give him a D at best. A D at best. He's never available. He's not spectacular. He's not dynamic. He doesn't do anything that he was supposed to do. He is a D at best. Jaden Reed, I would probably give a C. Or maybe even a C+. Romeo Dobbs, C+. Luke Musgrave, I'd probably give him a C+ to a B-. He's actually been better than I thought he would be. You found out the value of Aaron Jones. The offensive line is a B- when it comes to pass blocking, a B. A C run blocking team. That type of thing. And then I would probably say the defense, they're right middle of the pack. It's a C. They're creeping up on points per game. They're doing better. But yards per game, getting better. I mean, they're steadily climbing, but you and I both see it because it's not overwhelmingly dynamic. It's just, some of the competition hasn't been great, but then again, you can't take it away from them because they've been doing what they're supposed to do, right? Special teams, they rank low, but they gave up a return for touchdown. I think there's only been 4 of them in the National Football League this year, and the Packers own 1 of them. And that's going to hurt them all season long. You finally saw a return from Keyshawn Nixon. That was something to write home about. So, and Anders Carlson's missed a couple of kicks. So you tell me. And Bryce, you say your grades are an F, LMAO. Okay, tell me why. Don't give me that. Just tell me why. Tell me why. Or better yet, call the program and argue with me. Or tell me your side of the story, which you'll never do. But tell me why. Brandon says coach gets an F, offensive line gets a D-. The defensive ends also get a D+. Chris says I give Jordan Love a C at best. I give the receivers a B-. I give the offensive line a D-. Oh, he's not talking about me. He's talking about Mr. Gambler. They get into the arguments on sometimes I get caught up in it. Okay. I see. And then this is from our Art says, I'd give the whole team a C-. They're less than average, but not the worst in the league. Matt LaFleur I would give a D to. Joe Barry I would still give a D to. Nothing has really gotten better. He's just faced lesser talent. So there you go. And then you start the whole argument about Jordan Love on both sides. I'm just saying it's 8 games in. What have you seen? Nothing more. Nothing more. Let's do this. We got Mike Clemens coming up. Mike is going to join us. We'll talk with him about, his thoughts, recapping the weekend, moving forward as they get ready for practice tomorrow, get ready for the Pittsburgh Steelers coming up on Sunday. Don't forget that the Green and Gold postgame show is going to be live at the Distillery in Grafton. We're going to be there this coming Sunday. Green Bay is going to be in Pittsburgh, so the show is going to be out on the road. And we're doing it because a portion of the proceeds, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, go to Fisher House, Wisconsin. It's Veterans Day coming up, and they're going to do everything they can to support veterans. It's that kind of a special weekend. So we figure let's make it a watch party. So we're going to have a watch party. Go there, eat, drink, have fun. And then a portion of those proceeds go to Fisher House, Wisconsin. Then afterwards, we got Green and Gold postgame show live from the Distillery in Grafton. And we hope to see you as a face in the crowd. Get a hold of my buddy Tim if you want to call for a table or a bar seat or whatever. I don't know if they're taking reservations, but call over there, get a hold of Tim, tell him you're coming to be a part of the day and be a part of the festivities that are going to be taking place this weekend. So we hope to see you there as a face in the crowd. That's the Distillery in Grafton this Sunday. It's a watch party for Green Bay and Pittsburgh. And then afterward, the Green and Gold postgame show live from the Distillery in Grafton. More of the Bill Michaels Show. Mike Clemens up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Jordan Love on the comeback route. It is caught by Dobbs. Opening an extra man. Love's protected. Love's got Watson deep down the field. What a glove by Christian Watson. Love, two hits, and he finds Musgrave for what will be the knockout punch on the first touchdown of the rookie's career.
I think it's exactly what we needed in this situation, Like I said, it's been a couple of tough weeks. Weren't able to finish the games off, and, just to come out here and I think just put it together in all three phases. Offense played good, defense balled out, special teams we were able to make some plays. And, it's not perfect, but I think just the position we were able to put ourselves in and to come out with a win, it definitely going to help us, and we just got to keep stacking it.
Welcome back to the Bill Michaels Show. We continue on, and Mike Clemens, our guy, brought to you by the Bay Motel in Green Bay. Quiet, cozy, comfortable, and just a mile from Lambeau Field. And it's perfect for any stay, whether you're just up there on business or a family, whatever it happens to be. And don't forget the Bay Family Restaurant right there in the complex, featuring homestyle cooking 7 days a week. Oh, so good. Oh, so good. Call today for reservations, 920-494-3441, 920-494-3441, or just simply go online to baymotelgreenbay.com. That is baymotelgreenbay.com, and go up and enjoy yourself for a weekend in Green Bay, whether it's going to the Hall of Fame, to a game, or just hanging out, whatever it happens to be. Mike Clemens joining us on the hotline. Michael, how you doing, pal?
I'm good. How are you today, Bill?
Good. Busy, but, obviously with the news breaking yesterday, thanks for being flexible. But, it was kind of a wild and woolly one. But back on the we're at the midway point of the season now, kind of unofficially for the Packers. And now it's time to start taking a look as to what this team really kind of has in the tank. You know what I mean?
9 games left to play, Bill, and you're breaking out of a 4-game slump, a 4-game losing streak. And one of the things you've been looking for is some of these weapons that you saw in the draft, that you saw during training camp, that you saw in flashes during this regular season so far. You're saying, okay, just like Bill said, we're at the halfway point now. Now, when do you start banking wins? When do you start seeing these guys grow? A lot of these young guys in starting roles in key positions, like on the perimeter. And so it turned out, I'm not sure. Like when you watch Hard Knocks and you see Dan Campbell up there doing speeches, or even, Robert Salah from the Jets last summer, there's some incredible themes that these guys have for their players. And we don't hear about those. I don't know what LaFleur does, but we did this time. And Sunday night, there was a couple of players that said to us, LaFleur kept on talking about, you got to look in the mirror. You got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, what more do I need to do to dig down deep and to try and get over the hump and pull out a win here? And so I went right to Luke Musgrave after the game, because that was a huge touchdown play that he had there at the end. And we talked about the incredible, funny double fake that Jordan Love had, because when the play happened, I thought, oh God, he's confused and he doesn't know where he's supposed to be. Right. Christian Watson makes this incredible leaping catch. They're down in the red zone and he's going to screw this up. No, it was part of the play. He's faking one to either Aaron Jones and then faking to A.J. Dillon, and he throws right over the middle to a wide open Luke Musgrave. And Luke Musgrave said, you know what, they called it reflection week. Look in the mirror, decide what you can do, and talked about that drive that got him his first NFL TD.
I think we just executed well. Again, like it was a reflection week, and we looked at everybody individually, looked at what they wanted to do better, and I think we improved, and we're going to keep on improving and keep on this trajectory. But it was a big reflection week, is what we called it, and I think we we did well.
Execution,
Everybody.
timing.
Yeah, I credit it to Matt, who drew it up, I think. To our whole coaching staff, I don't know who drew it up, but great play design, great execution, great blocking. I really had the easy job, so I credit it to everybody else.
But then you had to jet a little bit to get there, too. I mean,
a little bit, but again, I mean, I had the easiest job, I think.
It was, that play call was solid, Mike. That was one of the ones where you kind of looked at it and went, wow, there you go. That's a little creative.
Yeah, Jordan Love really did a good job of selling it. Like I say, to me, as the play was happening, I thought, oh, God, confusion. He's completely screwed up because, he did that 180. It's like it looked like it was going to be screened to Aaron Jones and the A.J. Dillon's coming back the other way. We're going to flip it out to him. No. And pause and timing and rhythm. And then that nice pass with the feet flat right over the middle. And he hits Jordan Love. Now, you've got Luke Musgrave there saying, yeah, great play design by LaFleur or Adam Stenavich or my tight end coach, John Dunn, whoever. And Matt LaFleur says, no, we stole that from Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers.
That's not the first time that play's ever been run. It's something that we've seen around the league. I know for a fact San Francisco ran it to Kittle a couple years ago, but whether it was John Dunn or Adam Stenavich, one of the guys, and we just hit the call and the guys went out there and executed it. And yeah, it was definitely a fun moment for sure.
Mike, one of the things that I've really liked and appreciated has been the fact that Luke Musgrave has grown as a tight end. I don't know what his ceiling is, but he's been impressive.
Yeah, and he is a rookie. We got to keep remembering that these guys just don't step off the bus and play like all pros. It takes a while. And, for a tight end, we've learned a lot about, and especially, replacing the tight ends you've had here over the years, that you have to do everything. You got to block on the line. You got to chip guys downfield. You're going to get tackled. You're going to take shots. Luke Musgrave took that shot where you thought that, they almost took his helmet off, and he ended up suffering an ankle injury, and he was back ready to play 1 week later after getting all banged up against the Broncos. And so we talked to his tight end coach, John Dunn, about what's he learned so far about his rookie tight end and Luke Musgrave coming back from that ankle injury in 1 week to face the Vikings.
Luke is really tough. I don't think I learned that last week. You could kind of see that. But you talk about an unselfish guy, worked his tail off to get back for his team. It speaks a lot to him. And again, I didn't learn that last week. Obviously, being together for the first time and going through the fire for the first time, you learn things at different points. But just his mental toughness, he is a tough kid, and the whole group is. But meant a lot to him to get back. He worked his tail off, and that's a credit to Flea and everyone for getting him to that point. But just how tough he is.
If you watch Luke Musgrave, at least for the first portion of the season, you watch how hard he worked at running routes. I mean, whether it was 100 miles an hour or his blocking and, it really kind of trying to dig and plant a foot to get a cut. That's why I'm excited about him, Mike, because you can see it on the field, the way he works to try to get open. Now, granted, there's got to be some timing there, but I love the way this guy works.
Well, what you saw in the preseason was speed, whether there's running against air or, during scrimmage in training camp. We remember that great catch where somehow he found himself wide open against the Chicago Bears off to the left-hand side. And Jordan Love, he actually slipped, but still got the ball off and hit him wide open. They had a similar play like that this week, too, against the Rams, but this one was a little bit more with timing. But I told John Dunn, I said, LaFleur said that, he's watching Musgrave, and he's so fast for a big kid for 6'6". He's so fast that sometimes he runs through the windows, and the windows have, they're not just, like a stick, a flag at a golf course. The windows are open by where the secondary is. And if you can get the secondary to go one direction, then that's what creates the window. If you blow through that area before you can draw those guys off to one side or another, then you're there too soon, and it throws the timing off in the play. And I asked Don his reaction as tight end coach on what Musgrave needs to do to slow down his routes and developing his timing.
Yeah, it's a great point. Absolutely. And it's a great question. The passing game is spacing and timing, a lot of. And so you're fast, be fast. However, there are some things or some routes or some concepts. Where do you fit in the concept? You might not be the number one read. Maybe you get open too fast. You get through a window too soon and the quarterback's not ready to get it to you. And then by the time he gets back, you've already crossed that zone. So knowing where you fit in the passing game, knowing when, maybe you can tempo a route at the top or tempo a route coming out of it, knowing when you need to be 100 miles an hour on this route, right? And so learning that, it goes from, hey, here is this route that we're working on, right? Here's this route, and it's not consequential to anything else that's going on. Let's just run this route. Well, now here's this route in the bigger picture of scheme. So now how does this fit in, right? How fast do you need to get open, right? We need you to be as fast as you can be. Or maybe there's something on the backside where, hey, you can take a little time, like don't run past the window. So again, those are all things that he's learning. And again, you don't ever want to take away the speed element. That's first and foremost, but certainly understanding the big picture of where you fit in the passing game is a huge piece. Yep. Great question.
I guess the other question is, Mike, we're halfway through the season and, we know that the Rasul Douglas trade happened, but there's an evaluation process. And I know that Brian Gutekunst talked about that saying, hey, a couple of weeks ago, last week, he said, hey, the next 10 games are an evaluation. This is all about what we have to make and determine coming into the end of the season and going into next. So you would got to assume that they're seeing some type of progress in some areas. And I don't know. I don't know what the concern is right now behind closed doors.
Well, they got so many young players in various key positions, starting like with safety and now at corner and all that. And it's just such a bizarre week where you give up Rasul Douglas to the Bills for a 3rd round pick. And it just sends a shockwave through the whole locker room. And I got to say that maybe it paid off. Maybe it was a kick in the pants to everybody in that place. Whether you're a rookie or a 4-year, veteran, it's like, man, if they can do that to Rasul, right? It makes, whatever company, whatever office you're in, when you come in on one of those days and find out you get that email, no longer with the company. We wish them well in their future endeavors. Everybody sits, there's a little less clowning around in the kitchen. Like, oh man, they're making cuts. Well, that happens in the NFL. And then what about that progress? Because you see all these mistakes and you don't see progress. You see practice. You see penalty mistakes. You see misconnections. You see misassignments. So Gutekunst was asked, you're at practice. Are these guys, are they better in practice and still making mistakes in games? Do you see the same mistakes during the week?
Yeah, I think you guys have heard me say this before. Practice is practice, but you got to play the games. That's how players learn in this league, is by making mistakes out there in the field, and then kind of carrying those scars with them. And I think Jordan's doing that right now, certainly. And I think the whole offense as a whole is doing that. And then it'll really be how we take that and how we move forward that will determine a lot on all these guys, and where we go from there. There's been glimpses, particularly in the second halves, of really good football, but we have not started very well. So I think that group, that unit as a whole, has a lot of work to do. But at the same time, I think they're kind of committed to the process, believe in that group of guys, and expect better results coming.
Let's do this. We'll step out. We'll take a quick break. Mike Clemens alongside. We are talking a lot of Packers football, kind of recapping where they're at right now. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Point Brewing. Point Brewing, excellence since 1857. They got the Snow Pilot that's out. The Oktoberfest has now been put away, but all the winter beers are starting to come out. They always have the traditional lager. They have got the caramel apple from Cider Boys, the First Press, which is awesome. The Grand Mimosa they just came out with. A lot of different things to choose from, and that's from our friends in Stevens Point. Stevens Point, Point Brewing, since excellence since 1857. More with Mike Clemens coming up next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
You got an enormous decision to make there, right? I mean, if the season doesn't go right, you might end up top 5 pick, or you got to give him a contract extension. So what do you need to see out of him?
Obviously there'll be time for that, Bill. I think right now we're worried about beating the Rams. That's the most important thing. So right now it's just about we have a lot of faith in Jordan, and I think so. We got to get the offense playing better, and when that does, those things will take care of themselves. Right now, I think we're really focused on the Rams.
Welcome back to the program. Mike Clemens joining us on the hotline. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Every Plumbing and Heating. They are in La Crosse, out in that area, as a matter of fact. And whether it's one of the counties in that area, that Trempealeau County, or you can talk about them being in Vernon County, Monroe County, Jackson County, You can call them today, 608-783-2803, 608-783-2803. I know the furnaces have been kicking on. You can get that checked out and maybe just get a maintenance tune-up. But don't forget as well, if you got a renovation coming up, if you maybe your water heater's gone bad, you want to put heating in the floor, whatever it happens to be, they can help you out. Craig Every's a good dude. I met his dad. It was founded by the Korean War veteran Clayton Every back in 1969. 3 generations of Every's running that. And if you're looking for a job, they're also looking for you. 608-783-2803, 608-783-2803. That's Every Plumbing and Heating out there in La Crosse. Mike Clemens joining us on the hotline. And Mike, we're sitting here in the mid-season grades, so to speak, and I guess the biggest still somewhat unknown we have is, Jordan Love. I mean, people want to blame it on the line. They want to blame it on drops. They want to blame it on penalties. They want to blame it on the receivers, play calling, you name it. But there's got to be an assessment made sooner or later of what Jordan Love's actually doing.
Bill, when I watched Jordan Love at practice and in these games so far, both on the road and now this game in the rain on Sunday at Lambeau Field, I got frustrated by halftime. I tweeted out this note. I go, it's more the same thing. It's Jordan Love. He gets the huddle, gets the play in, has command of the offense, looks around the field, set, plant, throw, that kind of thing, until the moment the ball leaves his hand. He underthrows Christian Watson on a deep ball to the left-hand side. Then he hits Dobbs on a difficult pass. It's always low and away. Dobbs is out there throwing his body out there to try and make these catches. He misses an easy 15-yarder to an open rookie, Malik Heath, over the middle. I mean, he's open. He's open. And it's not the kid's fault. It's not the receiver's fault. Jordan Love is low and away on these balls. And then they end up, of course, he's plagued with 7 penalties for 47 yards, and it's 7-3 in favor of the Packers over an LA team that, come on. I mean, by the time that we knew for sure that Friday that Matthew Stafford could not go with that thumb injury, severe thumb injury suffered the week before, and you're going to get Brett Rippon, as a quarterback who I thought had showed some poise. It's his first game, really, and that you're getting a break. You're getting a break, and you should have been able to settle down and have some command of that game. So I asked LaFleur, after going through the tape, I asked LaFleur last night, first of all, you see some of these plays where Jordan Love, when he doesn't take like a 7-step drop, and when you stop the tape, he's 15 yards back there. Mm-hmm. 15 yards back, these really deep drops. And I asked LaFleur, why does Jordan take these 15-yard dropbacks?
Yeah, I mean, we never want to be deeper than 10 yards, and if you are, you better be ready to hitch up. There was nothing that I was really concerned about. A lot of it's feel too, yeah.
Senses.
Yeah, in terms of you got to feel the outside presence, those edge rushers, whether or not how hard you have to hitch up into a pocket.
Mike, I understand, he said, hey, you don't want to be taking those kind of drops, obviously, and getting back like that. But you had mentioned the fact that when he throws the ball, it's, guys have to stop. They're underthrown. They're overthrown. When was the last time we saw him hit a receiver in stride, just dropped it in the bucket?
Right? I mean, let's take Christian Watson. When Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur finally were able to discover Christian Watson last year against the Cowboys in that game in the sunshine, mid-season against the Bears. And what did Aaron Rodgers do? They just let that kid run a little slant over a wide open middle and dump the ball off to him, and he turned it upfield, and no one could stop him. When have we seen that lately? Mm-hmm. You got Christian Watson down there for the 37-yarder, but, he gets kind of roughed up because he's got a flail to catch the ball. It's not in stride. And I don't think it's Watson's fault. I think it's the ball coming up short. And when you see Romeo Dobbs or Dontavian Wicks, these two guys that aren't making the catches for you, they have to work so hard it's like they're diving on a hand grenade.
Right.
Why can't you ever get these guys just in stride so that they get some yards after the catch? And frankly, you can save their bodies from taking the hit when they land on the ground like that. And I asked LaFleur, would you like to see more of these guys upright when they catch the ball from Love?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We definitely want to throw lead people and hit them in stride so you can get the most out of the game, the play. But I thought, for the most part, Jordan threw pretty accurately.
He says he thought he threw pretty accurately. I think there's a lot of us who would probably disagree with that, like you said, Mike, we don't see him hitting receivers in stride and, just dropping it in the bucket and being on point. I mean, what does he have to do to see what we see? Because, I mean, the downfield passing specifically, that's been, 30%, 35% or less. It just hasn't been there.
Jordan's got this one ball where he throws it sidearm and usually to the right. It's that one when we were in Denver, and he throws it at the goal line, and it bounces off of Romeo Dobbs' hands. But fortunately, Jaden Reed is able to catch it in the end zone for a touchdown. But he's bending over to the right and throwing it from his sidearm, and it's a laser. It's a bullet. And he hit another one like that against the Rams. But really, why, with everything else he's got doing right, the footwork, the cadence, the rhythm, and then he lets that ball go, what's he got to do to make it more accurate downfield?
Shut his mind off and let it rip. I think a lot of times when you try to aim something or guide it, you're not gonna be as successful. I think he's been throwing the ball for a long time. I think he's done a much better job of putting air under the ball. I think two of the explosion plays that we had in the second half, the one to Wicks, I thought that was an unbelievable pass. I know it wasn't a go ball, but he had pressure in his face, and I mean, he stayed on platform and changed his arm angle and threw a ball right on the money to Wicks. And then it followed that up the next play on that deep cross route to Musgrave. That was a beautiful pass as well. So it sounded like he certainly can make all those throws.
I guess it's the one to Christian Watson in the back corner of the end zone. Had he actually thrown it over the shoulder rather than throwing it short, it probably was a touchdown as opposed to being an incomplete pass. But that's neither here nor there. I mean, the biggest problem right now is getting consistency in the first half of games, Mike. And they finally got a touchdown. It's kind of like seeing a pink elephant. It's something we don't see very often out of the Packers, but finally got a score in the first half. But, Goody said it earlier. You had it. This team's got to get it going in the first half of ball games if they're going to want to win any of these games.
Yeah, and by the way, in an update, Christian Watson negative on the concussion. And they called it a, back and chest injury as he got that 37-yarder and fell to the ground. And that, I guess he landed on the football. But, you got to see that kid somehow a little bit tougher, build up the upper body if he's going to last very long in this league. But he's got tremendous speed, man. And anybody who'd love to throw to that guy, just throw past him a little bit. In the meantime, you go to Love, and you remember that game, the opener, when you felt so good that, wow, here's this young Packers group without Aaron Rodgers putting 37 points up against the rival.
Right.
And then they all got their hand signals in the Love signal, right?
Right.
You haven't seen that kind of swagger. And we asked Love about that.
I think, like you said, we're all competitors in this locker room. We all want to be great right now, and we know we can be. So I think that's what we talk about when it's frustrating. That's the frustrating part, is we don't want to wait. We know it's a process, but we want to speed up that process and just have that urgency that we know we got to get better right now, right away. There's no waiting for, next year, next play, because who knows what's going to happen, Tomorrow's not promised for any of us. So we feel that urgency, and we just got to keep, continue to grow and do that at a fast rate and as fast as possible.
Is it? Mike, I understand that it's easy to grow. It's easy to say it, but part of the problem has been not necessarily the execution. It's been the penalties. It's been pre-snap penalties. It's been some calls that have been bad, but they always say you work Wednesday through Friday to win on Sunday. And it seems like at times, either it's concentration or lack of ability. They've just had so many penalties that have nullified big plays.
Yeah, like ineligible receiver downfield, face mask on your left tackle. So we asked Jordan, how do you keep from just losing your mind when you have a good play nullified by a flag?
That's part of the thing that we all got to be doing our 1/11 and just focus on that. I can't control what another man's doing on his job or things that might not be going right, penalties, things like that. So it's all part of this process for us. And for me, it's just, don't let that stuff kind of, frustrate us. And if we do have a negative play, it's how do we overcome that and go get better from there. But Yeah, I mean, I just look at it as trying to do my job, trying to focus and, be a leader. And when those things do pop up, just make sure that we're sticking together, staying on the right track, and just find ways to overcome these negative plays that we're having. But it all ties into the consistency that we need to do a better job of. And that's what's hurting us right now is that inconsistency, whether it's a play here, a play there, a penalty, things like that. So we got to find a way to, put it consistent performance together every play.
How do they fix this? I mean, I remember Mike McCarthy dealing with a ton of penalties in his career, and he ended up just kind of cracking the whip in practice. But how do they fix this, Mike?
Well, first of all, they got to get a game without Clete Blackman or Sean Hockley, the son of Ed,
right?
Which sounds like a monster movie title from the 30s. They're like calling John Runyon because they think his helmet is past the football. John, a veteran like that, neutral zone. But I asked Luke Buckus, offensive line coach, how do you fix this with your offensive line guys?
Well, the pre-snap penalties, the false starts, that stuff, that is just focus. That's breaking the huddle, knowing your assignment, and then being able to go execute your assignment, right? We have that advantage, and it's great to use that advantage, especially at a place like Lambeau or even on the road with our silent cadence, right? We have those advantages. Let's keep them by being focused every single snap and not having pre-snap penalties. When it comes to the physical penalties, the holdings, things like that, it's always going to happen. It's part of the game. We're just going to keep stressing on using technique, right? When you were a young kid and you were told, hey, the low man wins, right? We have to put our pads underneath the defender's pads. We have to have our hands inside the defender's hands, whether it be run or pass. And once we do that, then it won't come as much.
Mike, going back to the trade, Rasul, I mean, I know it was during the week last week. It was kind of a down locker room, but then the trade is made. Goody explains it. They ended up, coming out energized, which I was really glad to see. But again, what they got in return was that dreaded third-round pick. You know what I mean?
Well, and I asked Brian Gutekunst, what's really the value of that? Because and you know what? He wants to see these younger guys play. He wants to see like an Anthony Johnson who did a pretty good job at safety and ended up getting a pick. And, he knows he's going to have to move forward at safety. So some of the guys like Carrington Valentine actually had a pretty good game starting in for Rasul. So I asked Goody, at the end of the day, why do you think you got so much value with a third-round pick out of the Douglas trade?
That's a 4-year contract, 4-year rookie contract. It also frees up a significant amount of resources from the cap for next year as well. So I think it's everything that's involved in that. And then just kind of looking at our team right now and some of the young guys that need to play and making sure we know what we know there as well. So there's a lot of factors that go into that. But again, we're trying to beat the Rams. That's the number one focus right now this week. But from my aspect of it, there's always a little bit of, one eye on the future as well.
Talking Packers football with Mike Clemens. We'll wrap things up. Coming up next in the Bill Michaels Show. Stay right where you're at.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Everywhere you look, from groceries to utilities to gas, prices keep going up. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin can dramatically help lower your energy costs year-round by replacing drafty windows and doors in as little as 6 weeks. And now you can save even more by taking advantage of no interest and no down payment for up to 36 months when you order by November 30th. Bring the love of Wisconsin's outdoors in through the beauty and quality craftsmanship of Pella Windows and Doors. Whether you're updating or upgrading the look and comfort of your home, Pella has extensive lines of customizable options to meet your needs and your budget. Replacing drafty windows and doors can dramatically lower your energy costs. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin offers some of the most energy efficient windows in the industry. 0% interest and no down payment for up to 36 months when you order by November 30th. Set your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details. Offer ends 11/30/2023.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Love all day. Now time running out, and down he goes. It's Kobe Turner. Deep drop for Love. Jordan Love looking for the rhythm, and a rhythm throw. Oh, man, Wicks had it and then lost the football. Will it be catch down, catch out of bounds, or is it a fumble? On 3rd and 7. Love, deep shot. Christian Watson, incomplete. Akello Witherspoon with the coverage.
Thought he made some plays, and hopefully we can build upon that. Obviously, every time out, it's going to be a learning experience, and there's going to be plays that you want back. I've never seen a quarterback go through a game, and it's been a perfect game. And I know that there's been games that guys have perfect ratings, but nobody's going to be perfect.
Mike Clemens joining us on the hotline. Jordan Love, as we sit here with the evaluation process halfway through the season, Mike, you hope to see better each and every week. And that's what I've said all along is just get better. Just continue to get better, not make the same mistakes.
Jordan Love, 20 of 26, a quarterback rating of 115 against the Rams. Sounds good, but you know what? They're helping him out with screen passes, check downs. Even a shovel pass to Aaron Jones on a sweep counts as a pass. We asked Love, are you concerned you haven't shown enough yet to prove you're the quarterback next year?
That's not something that, I try and worry about. I believe every day I come in here and work, and, if I have that mindset that I'm going to keep getting better every day, then I'm going to let those things handle themselves and let that kind of play out. I focus on right now. I don't focus on the big picture things and what's going to happen a year from now. I just try and be the best version of myself every day, and that's really all I can do.
Mike, the defense hasn't played bad, though. I'll say that.
And the week after the trade of Rasul Douglas, guess who stepped up? I mean, these 3 young guys in the secondary, Isaiah McDuffie, the inside linebacker. And guess who led the team with tackles? Jair Alexander.
Yeah, no doubt. Mike, great stuff as always, pal, and I will talk to you later in the week, okay?
Thank you, Bill.
Appreciate it, buddy. There you go. Mike brought to you by our friends over there at the Bay Motel in Green Bay. Give them a call or just shoot them, something up on the website, baymotelgreenbay.com. baymotelgreenbay.com or call them 920-494-3441. That'll do it. Quick, easy. Tomorrow we'll get into our grades. Tomorrow we'll get back at it. What a day. Breathe. Then we'll be back at it again tomorrow. Time for us to go. Have a good one.